Now, your WVUA 23 Fast Track Severe Weather Update.
Well, hello and a good Tuesday morning to you. Now 11 o'clock on this Tuesday. Chief Meteorologist Richard Scott here. Got Meteorologist Taylor Plott in the Weather Center with us too, and we are monitoring the risk of severe weather as we go into the afternoon and evening hours. We still maintain this tornado watch for all of West Alabama. That goes until 5 o'clock this evening. We have no active tornado warnings on radar. We are very warm though, 75 in Fayette, south wind at around 8 miles per hour. That's the Pfeiffer cam. I want to go over to the Bron-Denny camera in Tuscaloosa, 73 with the wind out of the south at 13 miles per hour. So a lot of warm, unstable air moving into Alabama. We've got active storms on radar, and for the moment there are no tornado warnings with these storms. However, they are showing some sign of rotation. Let's take you into some of these briefly and show you where we're talking about. This is all to the south of Tuscaloosa, over Hale County, Marengo, southeast Sumter County, and again, each one of these storms here have shown some sign of rotation. One of these northwest of Greensboro coming up on Havana. Another storm near Demopolis showing some sign of weak rotation. Another storm between Pennington and Myrtlewood showing some sign of rotation, lifting off towards the northwest or northeast as well. We've also got meteorologist Taylor Plott here. And Taylor, we've been watching these storms carefully. We're just not quite to the point where these things are going tornadic.
No, not yet. But I think that we're about to get into that zone where we were talking about earlier off screen, that trough that we're watching that's causing all these storms to really get going. It is just now beginning to move into parts of Mississippi. So these storms are trying to mature. They're trying to get more organized. And so we probably here in the next hour or two, we might start to see some of these storms become tornadic, unfortunately. But hoping for the best, trying to see if maybe we can get a big blow up of rain that will end up killing this thing. But for now, things are looking like they could be upticking here pretty shortly.
Yeah, Taylor, we'll be here all day, all night tonight. This thing's going to last until around 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Multiple rounds of severe weather possibility. So if this round doesn't do much where you are, there's that other potential later on this evening and tonight. So we'll be back here coming up at 11:30 for live severe weather update. See you then.
This has been your WVUA 23 Fast Track Severe Weather Update.
All right, it's now 11:16. Chief Meteorologist Richard Scott here with Meteorologist Taylor Plott. We now have a tornado warning issued for parts of Marengo, Hale, and Perry counties across southwest and south central portions of Alabama. A rotating supercell thunderstorm lifting northeast. In fact, the one they've issued for is not far from Linden and Jefferson right now. So again, a dangerous thunderstorm that could be producing a tornado. Let's go into this thing and show you exactly where it is. I do want to mention this tornado warning until 12 o'clock for that particular storm. I believe that's till 12. And yes, till 12 o'clock, so 11:15 is when they're seeing this rotation develop very close to Jefferson. There's another rotating thunderstorm just northeast of Demopolis. Looks like they issued it for the one to the southwest of there. And that storm is lifting off towards the northeast. Put on the velocity with this and just look at this thing together and look at the couplet with that. So again, a tight rotation just passing Jefferson. That's on Highway 28 in northwest Marengo County. This rotation about to cross Highway 43, very close to Old Spring Hill Road. So again, a very dangerous thunderstorm. And it does look like they actually are triggering for both of those rotations, Taylor. I know you're looking at that too. So this is a tornado warning for two different rotating thunderstorms that are very close to each other. So just a note from the National Weather Service office in Birmingham, there's rotation northeast of Demopolis that's approaching Greensboro. There's also rotation down here that is south of Demopolis, moving northeast just like that. These two tornadic thunderstorms are going to be in a very similar spot in terms of their track. So again, two dangerous thunderstorms that could easily produce a tornado based off the environment we are in today. This is going to be a situation where we could have a tornado down. Again, this thing has moved just north of Jefferson, northeast of Jefferson. Now, there's the other tornadic circulation northeast of Demopolis, and both of these are fairly tight, especially the one down in Marengo County. Let's go in tight. That's going to be north of Linden. So if you're in Linden with this particular storm, the rotation is north of you. Again, there's Pinhook, there's Jefferson. We got Jefferson Country Store sits right there. Old Lock 3 Road goes back here to the Tombigbee River. That's all east of you now. It's cross Highway 28. Again, at Jefferson, very close to the Jefferson Country Store. This is coming up on Old Spring Hill. Old Spring Hill Road runs between 43 and 69 there in North Marengo County. So again, there's your rotation where your possible tornado would be. If you're at Old Spring Hill, you need to be sheltered now. Anybody north of Providence Baptist Church, anybody north of the split off of Highway 43 and Highway 69, you need to be in shelter. This is going to be north of the Chickasaw Bogue. That's just north of Linden. You've got Linden Lumber, the lumber company down here on the north side of Linden. Again, all north of you. But if you are at Linden Lumber, I know that sits on top of a hill. You've got a wide open view to the north. I would just about guarantee you could see if there's a tornado down if you are looking north. I do want to mention, too, we are also on Facebook Live. So if you lose power, search for the WVUA 23 Facebook page, and we're on there as well. So again, just a way to get that severe weather information. If you lose power, search the WVUA 23 Facebook page. We are on there and on TV as well. So again, a rotating thunderstorm there. Looks kind of like two couplets here, kind of side by side. One just on the north side of Providence Baptist Church. The other one is coming up on Old Spring Hill Road as we speak. So this is north of Linden, tracking off towards the northeast at a pretty good clip. Again, we got meteorologist Taylor Plott here with us too. Taylor, we've been watching both of these storms kind of panning to the north now. This storm near Lock 5, we've got two distinct rotations here.
Yeah, that's right, Richard. I'm actually looking at the radar over here as well. Looks like that we're actually going to get a cell merger that's going on with that one just north of Demopolis. It's the one that developed just to the south of Linden's kind of getting sucked into that main supercell. So it'll be interesting to see if that ends up killing the circulation, or does it actually wrap up quicker. Usually with cell mergers, you're going to get something that you might weaken the rotation a little bit, give the storm some time, 10, 15 minutes, and then it's going to come back again. But just something to keep an eye on there. That other rotation that they warned on that was just to the northeast of Demopolis now, that one's starting to get a little bit more activity with it. That was the one that we were watching earlier before they popped on the tornado warning.
Yeah, so again, I do want to mention, so we've got two different storms we're watching. This one that, again, is northeast of Demopolis. This was the original storm we've been very carefully monitoring, and the Weather Service office going ahead and issuing that tornado warning for both of those particular storms. And again, I do want to mention, too, that we are on Facebook Live. So again, I know down in this part of Alabama, especially down in Marengo County, there's a lot of people, if you have satellite, you can't watch us on TV. You got us over the cable systems and over the air down there, but you can see us on Facebook. Impressive with this setup. You see that tornado warning polygon down there? Yeah, the look at the Storm Prediction Center. Their analysis page. Yeah, right where the storms are at. We mentioned earlier, talking about the CAPE values, meaning the fuel that is in the atmosphere today. Usually on a day like today, a winter day, you want to see those values around, say, 500 to 750. That's kind of your benchmark low end for dealing with severe weather. Today, we're well above that. We're about 1,500, 2,000. There's even some 3,000 values that are closer to Mobile. Right where those storms are at, they are kind of in that zone of probably some of the best values that we have in the state, between 1,500 and 2,000. So they got a lot of fuel to work with. And that trough that we've been talking about that's going to be kicking all these storms off, it's just now moving through. So these storms are getting better upper level support as they continue to work off to the east. So I would expect that uptick to continue. And just looking back at that cell, that one that is now south of Demopolis, it looks like you still have those two areas of rotation, but it looks like the one that is on the southeast side, that storm that was kind of being sucked into that other one, that has the best rotation on it right now. That one's getting really, really good to the southeast Demopolis, between Demopolis and Dayton. Yeah. And you see the tornado warning down there, Taylor. That's a very large polygon, and the reason the Weather Service drew such a kind of larger polygon is to capture those two individual circulating thunderstorms. So, again, if you are in Tuscaloosa, I just want to mention for everybody watching us in the Tuscaloosa area, points north, you've got a tornado watch until 5 o'clock, and most likely this will be extended with time and coverage. But, again, that's the latest on that. Fayette at 75 now, Tuscaloosa at 72, rain falling. So it's very warm across central Alabama. I want to put on the radar and just show you where we are. Let's take you back into this storm that is rotating. And there's multiple storms down here that have had sign of rotation. And each one of these storms could produce a tornado based off the good environmental conditions. Taylor mentioning some parameters there. The CAPE, convective available potential energy, that is potential energy or fuel for the atmosphere. And we start seeing values of like 2,000 to 3,000 joules per kilogram this time of year, and that is incredibly impressive. You know, this is something you see more in March or April type of event, which it's common for March and April, and typically that's our bigger tornado events. The thing is the rain out here going to help things out any at all, and we really don't think it's going to help much. Based off what we're looking at. So, again, there's another storm down here near Sweetwater coming up on Linden. We need to watch that carefully, but our two rotating thunderstorms, this one right here to the east of the Black Warrior River and the one to the south of Demopolis. This is lifted north out of Linden. So let me take you into that and show you very carefully. And Taylor, while we do that, are you watching the storm near Havana? Is there anything coming out of that? I know we were kind of monitoring some weak rotation a few minutes ago, but I have not had a chance to check on that to see if anything new is formed. Yeah, there's the first storm.
The one near Moundville?
Yeah, the one just south of Moundville. You see anything with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's still got a rotation on it, but it's not like the ones we saw or that we're seeing now near the Demopolis area, but it's still there.
And they're going to continue that tornado warning till 12 o'clock. And this thing's moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. So, again, let's tell you what, let's put on the velocity and do a track on this thing and show you where it is heading. And keep in mind, this does not include any part of the Tuscaloosa area. This is all south of you for now. I know there's a lot of people asking on Facebook Live, especially, what about areas to the north? Right now, we're not concerned about the Tuscaloosa area, points north for a moment. That may change, but again, you got your two rotations here. The one coming up on 69. Okay, so we've got hail reports on Highway 43 down around the Gallion area. So that'll be, again, down here with this storm. Let's put on the reflectivity and let's look at this together and see what we got. So there's probably some hail falling just southwest of Greensboro. This is going to be coming up on downtown Greensboro. And then that's south of Demopolis, probably some hail falling on Highway 69 north of Providence. So there's US 80. If you're along Highway 80 east of Demopolis, really between Uniontown and Demopolis, we need you in shelter now. Nobody needs to be on Highway 80 driving. That's certainly a critical area right there. Not only is there a possible tornado in there, there's also torrential rainfall. And again, as we were just hearing through some reports, some hail falling down here in the Gallion area. So again, that is a distinct possibility. That little spot right there, you see that, Taylor? That's that bounded weak echo region. You kind of still see that on radar coming up on Greensboro. That may be another one forming down in North Marengo. You see that?
Yeah, that's
merger.
That was almost the exact same signature that we saw with that one that went over Demopolis.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and what Richard is talking about, that you get the little donut hole that you've got right there in the radar data. We have a lot of the red and even some pink in there, but you have this kind of dead spot in the middle. It's what we call a bounded weak echo region. And whenever you see that, that's an indication that the circulation is getting pretty strong.
Yeah, you see a strong circulation with the wind shear we have. You see a strong enough storm to have that strong updraft. That's always a concerning sign. So it's kind of like pieces of a puzzle put together. We don't have a confirmed tornado, but everything kind of the puzzle pieces are coming together for these two storms to have a tornado. And I'll say this, Taylor, I think the one to the south may become dominant. It has nothing south of it to rob the inflow.
Yeah, it's got nothing to the south of it, and even south of that, the one that is just now to the northeast of Butler, that one has nothing inhibiting it to the south as well. So I would expect these cells are going to continue to strengthen, get organized, and potentially even become tornadic as we go through the next few hours. One thing that will be interesting to watch is it is raining. It's raining well to the north of these areas. I'm watching these storms that are coming in across parts of northwestern Alabama. We're not forgetting about you guys. There's no warnings for parts of Marion, Fayette, and Lamar counties. The warnings, matter of fact, even the warnings up in northern Alabama have now expired. So that line's continuing to move through. It's strong. You're getting some gusty winds with it, but it'll be interesting to see how the rain to the north of where these tornadic storms are, does that actually help to cool the atmosphere off a little bit, or does it not? So that's kind of this is kind of a unique setup. I was talking to you, Richard, earlier, that usually when we see this, you're going to get all the severe weather happening to the south of this, and everybody to the north is going to be fine. But today might not be one of those days. Yeah,
and we hope it is. That's what we want to see, a large rain mass form and kind of stabilize things. But I don't know if that's going to quite happen. This is all lifting north, and as long as this isn't back building towards the Gulf of Mexico and doesn't just stay here, you're not going to impede the instability from coming further north. So again, and Taylor mentioned that we're not talking about you guys up here right now because there's not anything there in terms of a tornado threat at the moment. Now that could change at any time, but again, we're focused in on where there is a tornado. So for folks watching us on TV and through Facebook, I do just want to mention that the parameters or the ingredients for severe weather kind of maxed out to the south of Tuscaloosa right now. There are cells back here that are over West Alabama. There's one in southern Pickens County you need to watch, and there's some stronger storms up around Hamilton and the Detroit area up across northern Lamar County. Those all need to be watched, but for the moment, our area of concern is down here, and this is all going to be lifting northeast, and it will continue lifting northeast. So places over Bibb County, Chilton County may have to watch you here pretty soon as these storms do move in your general direction. Let's go back down into the storms we're watching carefully, and again, the potential for a tornado is there for 2 thunderstorms now that are now just east of Demopolis. There's one coming up on Greensboro. There's one that's about to cross US 80 on the east side of Demopolis. These storms are moving off towards the northwest, and again, it looks like one large storm, but there's 2 pockets of rotation. There's 2 pockets of rotating winds here. One that is approaching Greensboro, one that is approaching the interchange of Highway 69 and Highway 80. If you are familiar with that part of Hale County and North Marengo County, there's the Marengo County line on 69. Technically, the crossover on 80 is in Hale County. That's where this tornado is going to be crossing. So again, it's about to cross Highway 80 within the next 5 to 10 minutes. So again, 2 dangerous storms. Let's do a track on these, and I'll tell you what, let me zoom out just a bit because this thing is moving northeast, and let me check the speed on that. 45 miles per hour. So moving northeast 45 miles per hour. So again, just for folks joining us, we are watching some storms that are down here to the south of Tuscaloosa. If you are in Moundville, there's a storm over you, but it's not at the moment rotating. The 2 rotating thunderstorms are down here. There's another storm southwest of Linden. So if you're in Linden area, we need to watch that in Thomaston for another potential tornado that may try to develop on the south end of that. So let's do a cone on this thing. And again, the only tornado warning is for these 2 storms that are very close to each other, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. So again, let me clear this off and redraw this for you, and you see exactly what we're talking about. There's your potential tornado. That's for one of the circulations. Understand there's 2 in here, and they are moving off towards the northeast at around 45 miles per hour. So again, Prairieville, you need to be in shelter now. That's in southern portions of Hale County, and your Highway 69 there. You got Laneville there. That is 11:44 this morning. Newbern looking at 11:51. You keep going down the list. Got Zimmerman 12 o'clock. Marion, which is right there. We're looking at 12:06. Heiberger, we're looking at 12:14. Adler and Brent. You see the times of arrival. Understand there's another circulation in here that may be there a little bit faster. So these things are very close to each other. If you are in Moundville North, you're okay. There's nothing happening your way just yet. So let me clear this off. Let's put on the velocity and let's just watch this thing together. And I want to see the storm. Look at the storm down here below Linden, Taylor, from Birmingham. That thing is spinning like crazy. It's the one just below Myrtlewood near Rimber Hill Road.
Yeah, that's that cell that was coming out of the Butler area And it's same thing with
Man, look at that.
Yeah, same thing with the other one. There's nothing really to the south that's going to be choking this off.
Yeah, if you're in Linden, let's go to shelter. There's not a tornado warning for Linden, but I tell you what, if you're at Rembert Hill Road that hits 69 all the way to Linden to Providence, that is a tight circulation there in southwest Marengo County, just below Myrtle Woods. So again, a dangerous thunderstorm that could produce a tornado. And Taylor, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think there's a tornado warning for this right now.
Correct. The last thing from the Weather Service was just continuing that warning they already had.
But that thing is impressive. So let's watch that. Hopefully the next signature, the next radar scan, this thing will weaken some. But again, if you're up on Rembert Hill Road where it hits 69, coming up on 43, Linden, the old Marengo County High School, or Marengo Academy High School sits right there. Corner store on 6943. Again, this is going to be coming up on you. Technically, there's not a tornado warning there. The tornadic thunderstorm that we have a warning for, the National Weather Service Office, Birmingham, is one up here in Prairieville. But again, this thing is impressive. So our friends in Linden, Providence, let's go to shelter. I know technically it's not a tornado warning for you, but I tell you what, least course of regret, let's do it now and hang out there for a little while. The other storm to the north, again, a tight circulation that's about to cross Highway 80. Looks like this one's becoming better organized. We'll say this, the one to the north, coming up on Greensboro, is not as organized. And
just continuation.
Okay, so they're going to continue the tornado warning, which is the one not too far from Fonsdale. That's Fonsdale right there. Dangerous rotational signature there that's on the Hale County, Marengo County line. There's Laneville, there's New Bern there. That's Highway 25 that splits off on the south side of Greensboro. 69 goes down to Prairieville. We got 25 goes down to Laneville. And I tell you what, if you're in this part of Hale County, Taylor, I don't know if you've been down here many times, but it is wide open country land. There's a lot of catfish farmers down here, and it is just beautiful scenery. If you go down through here, it's wide open land. There's hardly any trees, and you could see a tornado from miles away. I've always said if I was down here when a tornado was happening, this would be the best spot in Alabama to go storm chasing because you could see this thing from miles away.
It's very almost plains-like with the terrain.
It really is. It's that part of southwest Alabama. It's a natural prairie land down here. That's why you got the town there, Prairieville. So this is more of a prairie type of land in this part of Hale County. But again, once you go north of Greensboro, you run back in your hills and trees. But down here, if there's a tornado, you'll see it coming. Unless it's rain wrapped, you're going to see this thing coming. And it has already crossed northeast of Prairieville, but a dangerous circulation coming up on Highway 25 south of Greensboro. The one to the north that was approaching Greensboro, it has clearly weakened and faded. The one to the south we're talking about may become the dominant one. That's what's happening. That one's your dominant circulation with a possible tornado there as we speak. So let's go into this. Go ahead, Taylor.
Go back up to the one that is northeast Demopolis. That's starting to really wrap up again.
You talking about the one at Laneville? Yeah, right here in South Hale County?
Yes, sorry. Yes, that one, yeah. It looks like we got a new scan right there.
Yeah, so this one, it's got a tight circulation here. And again, that's Laneville's right there. That's Highway 25 that runs to the north. You got Greensboro north of there. Again, this is a more rural farmland. But again, this potential tornado is about to cross Highway 25 within the next 5 to 10 minutes. It's going to be very close to Laneville area. So that's what we're talking about. So let me go back down to the south, and I do want to show you that storm that is in South Marengo County, or West Central Marengo County. That one was concerning too.
Yeah, that was the one I thought you were talking about just then.
Yeah. Let me go down to this. Let's look at this thing together. Still got a area rotation right here at where the dirt road of Rembert Hill Road hits Highway 69. A tight couplet there. It's coming up on Linden. Again, technically there's not a tornado warning for you. This thing could have a tornado down based off what we're looking at. Again, this is in that part of the state where there's a really terrible radar standpoint. It's kind of that radar hole we talk about where you can't really see anything in the lowest. I want to say the radar beam here, Taylor, is like 10,000 feet up.
It's pretty high up there. Matter of fact, I can actually find that out here in just a second.
Because you think 10,000 feet, that's nearly 2 miles above the ground. So that's way up there.
So looking at it from Birmingham, it's about 8,000 to 9,000 feet.
Okay.
looking at it from Mobile is, whoop, come on.
Yeah, so
About the same, 10,000 feet.
Yeah, so I mean, we're looking at 8, 9, 10,000 feet up. So I mean, it's tough to see what's down there close to the ground level. And I don't know if you hear that over microphones. We're getting alerts from the National Weather Service office in Birmingham. Okay, they're going to continue or extend the tornado watch further east, which is a good call because these storms are getting east pretty quick. So let me tell you what, let's go back out to wide view. And here's your new tornado watch. They essentially included all counties up and down Interstate 65. That's until 5 o'clock. Most likely they will extend the time on this later, but right now they've got the tornado watch until 5 o'clock for that part of Alabama. All right, and that includes every bit of West Alabama. The only tornado warning we've got for the moment is for Hale County and Perry County. Technically, there's not a tornado warning anymore for Marengo County, but I'm telling you, if you are in the Linden area, let's seek shelter. And just as a least course regret, there's a rotating thunderstorm near you now. Tell you what, let's go back over to radar and show you that. And you see this loop here. There's another storm that's getting organized down here that's just east of Myrtlewood, coming up on Linden. That's a storm that's down to the south, and it has a potential to become tornadic. It's got rotation with it, but the Weather Service office so far has not issued that tornado warning for you. But again, just least course regret, Marengo County. If you're near Linden or Providence, let's stay sheltered. Let's go to the tornadic storm that we are on air for now. And it's this one that's just crossed Highway 80. It's coming upon Laneville and New Bern. There's Greensboro, and again, the rotation with the storm that was over Greensboro has significantly weakened. The storm's moving generally off towards the northeast at 45 miles per hour. Let's look at the velocity. And it's becoming a little more messy down here. That's about to cross 25. That's Highway 61. It goes down to Uniontown out of New Bern. If you keep going south out of Greensboro, you got New Bern, and then down here, Highway 80, that is Uniontown. That's northwest of you. But again, this tornadic circulation is coming upon New Bern, and this is going to move into Perry County, where you got Marion there, and that is Highway 14 that runs from Greensboro to Marion. So again, a rotating thunderstorm there as well. Let's go off towards the north and show you the storms that are closer to Moundville and Tuscaloosa. And again, there's no tornado warning in any of these storms. We got a fairly intense thunderstorm that's over the Duncanville area now. This is Tuscaloosa, Northport. You got a southeast of town. It's pouring rain out on Highway 82. Once you get southeast of Tuscaloosa towards the Duncanville area, and that storm's going to be coming up on Vance, Mercedes Plant area. Not a rotating thunderstorm, but it is a fairly intense storm that's going to produce some pretty heavy rainfall and quite a bit of lightning with that as well. Back to the west, we got storms in Pickens County. These are not severe at the moment. We got reformed to Carrollton up on and down Highway 17 in Aliceville. Rain falling very heavily. Quite a bit of lightning with that as well. And I do want to go to the north, and we got some strong storms up here in northern Lamar County and Marion County. That's from Hamilton down to the south. This is going to be coming up on Winfield, Glen Allen, Brilliant. You'll deal with these storms in the next 30 minutes or so. But again, so far, there are no active tornado warnings in that part of Alabama. So let's go back out to a wide view. And I just want to show everybody out there, if you are across central Alabama, like Birmingham East, there's no issues ongoing at the moment. Our main area of concern is the storm that's in southern Hale County. It's going to be tracking across western and northwest portions of Perry County. That has us concerned as well. That storm is moving off towards the northeast direction, so we need you in shelter there. So again, just checking some things behind the scenes here, and we've got so far no reports, which is fantastic. Don't know how long that will continue, but so far I have no reports of any sort of damage with any of these storms. But we will monitor trends. And I tell you what, if you guys, anybody down there in Marengo County or southern Hale County, if you see any damage down that way, you can comment on our Facebook Live, and we'll keep an eye on that and be able to get that information to you. That helps the warning process. So if somebody northeast of you, they're going to deal with that storm eventually. Having that information is critical for you guys. So let's go back down into the Marengo County storm. I want to check that out because it is one that's interesting. Coming up on Linden. It's not a tornado warning for you. But again, it's a thunderstorm that could produce a tornado. It's down here in a good environment that could produce one. There's Linden, very heavy rain up and down Highway 28, goes up towards Pinhook and Jefferson. Again, the circulation we were watching was very close to Rembert Hill Road coming up on Linden. There's not a tornado warning there. But again, let's look at the velocity signature. And still seeing that evidence of rotation down here. So, I mean, there's something spinning. The storm is spinning. Whether it's at the ground level or not, we just don't know until we get that ground truth. So, least course of regret, if you're in central Marengo County, I'd just stay sheltered. A lot of people in the Linden area will go to the Marengo County Courthouse. Linden is the county seat of Marengo County, and a lot of people will do that as a safe place to go. If you are in a mobile home, and we often say this from mobile home, get out of that, find a site-built structure somewhere that can protect you from flying debris. It doesn't take a strong tornado to destroy a mobile home. It can take an EF0, EF1 type of tornado, which is a weaker tornado on the scale, to demolish a mobile home. So if you are in a mobile home down here, you got to seek shelter in a site-built structure or a storm shelter. So again, let's go off towards the north. Look at this storm that's over southern Hale County. And Taylor, this thing looks like it's kind of unraveling just a bit. It's not as well organized as it once was earlier down here on 25.
No, yeah, I mean, and I think, at least looking at it part of the ways, I think it could have been that cell merger that we talked about. It might be doing its thing where it's going to take some time. Its environment has been affected by that storm moving in, so it's got to kind of reorganize its updraft and try to get its act together again. So it might take it a little bit. But one thing that I've been noticing over here, taking a look at the model data, is we've got a lot of these models that will have really high resolution data, and one of them called the HRRR, it comes out every single hour. So it takes into account what is happening now, and it extrapolates from that, and you get an idea of what could be happening later on down the future, just several hours down the road. And we were talking about is what might happen with the rain that is happening north of where these tornadic storms are. And both the HRRR model and the NAM are starting to come in line with that. Anything generally south of where this line of storms is at, that's going to end up being your primary area to focus with this first round. That doesn't mean that if you live in Tuscaloosa or you live in Fayette or into Lamar counties that you aren't going to get severe weather with this round. It looks like that is going to be a lower area of concern with these storms moving on to the northeast. So places like Birmingham, Alabaster, Calera, Jemison, Clanton, Montgomery, that area generally along and south of I-20, that is what these models are highlighting now, is that could be your primary area of concern going into this afternoon and evening. But then we have the other round. We have the round coming in later on tonight, and that one, they're actually showing that it could be more western Alabama, that if you don't get in on the action this afternoon, then you might get in on it later on tonight. So everybody still needs to be on their toes today. Even if you're not really seeing severe weather right now, that doesn't mean you aren't going to be seeing it later on. But that's just one thing that I've been noticing, Richard, is that it looks like we're starting to get that indication that this is going to be the area of concern going into this afternoon. But we'll have to watch more western Alabama as we get later on tonight.
Yeah, hey, and I tell you what, Jen, if we can take the weather iPad briefly, I've got a picture here. This is from Marengo County, and this is Old Spring Hill Road of what looks like tornado damage. I see a lot of tin. It's wrapped around trees back here, some trees down. And again, if you are in Marengo County, I think we had a tornado that went across Old Spring Hill Road. And again, you see a lot of trees down here. Will Mosley sending us this picture. So again, it looks like we did have a tornado path now across Old Spring Hill Road in Marengo County. That was for the storm that moved into Hale County, so we're getting confirmation there was something down, Taylor, with that storm. So go back over to radar, and so we are getting some damage pictures in from that area. And I'll tell you what, let me go back over to the one to the south, because here's another storm of concern down here that is very close to Linden. Taylor, they canceled the tornado warning,
They
I believe.
actually did. The rotations have weakened, so they've canceled it for now. But again, it looks like the cell's doing its cycling routine, so it might pop up here in a minute.
So it may revamp. Again, near Linden, we've got looks like a large hail core coming up on downtown Linden, right there at Marengo County Nursing Home area, down to the south towards, I'd say towards the corner store that hits 69 and 43 near the Marengo Academy, the old high school location. Again, that's a large hail core coming up on Linden. That'll hit Providence next. So, again, not a tornado warning for you, but a storm that is concerning. Put on the velocity. I do want to see if there's anything down here. And the rotation has broadened out quite a bit, so that's one good thing with this storm. And, again, just watching reports here from that area. And, again, we're continuously getting updates from what's happened down there. In Marengo County. It looks like we did have a tornado path that has moved across there. And again, I'm just talking with some folks down there. And again, so far, we got some damage coming in. But that storm has weakened quite a bit. So again, we'll monitor that. But no warnings. Now we have canceled all the tornado warnings in our local area, so that's one good thing. But this storm may try to recycle, as Taylor mentioned. Let's go back over to reflectivity. Go out to wide view. And again, for the moment, all tornado warnings have been allowed to expire. We had one tornado warning polygon that included 2 storms there that moved out of Marengo County. It has produced what looks like tornado damage on Old Spring Hill Road in North Marengo County. That storm has moved into Hale County. It's on the Hale-Perry County line now. It has significantly weakened, so that's good. It may cycle and produce a tornado, so I wouldn't say you are out of the woods yet, but at least for the moment, things are looking a little better there. We got more storms northwest of Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, check on that storm getting into Aliceville. That's starting to get a little bit of rotation on it, right there on the tail end of that line.
Okay, are you looking out of Columbus or
Out of
Birmingham?
Columbus, yes.
All right, let's go down into this. So again, there's a storm that's, you got stronger storms over Pickens County. There's Aliceville there. Let's look at the velocity with that and just see what we've got.
It's not much, but it's catching my eye a little bit.
Yeah, it's trying to wrap around some, isn't it? Let's see. Let's go in tight to this storm again. There's not a tornado warning for Pickens County. But again, down here in Aliceville, you got, there's some broad rotation here. This is Highway 14 that crosses over Highway 17 at Aliceville. That's the junction there of 17 and Highway 14 right at downtown. And again, there's not a tornado warning for you, but it's a storm that's in an environment that could produce something. So we'll watch that one carefully. But again, so far, that one is not wrapped up to the point where they would issue. Let's go down to the south and look at the stuff in Marengo County. Again, that is more of a concerning area as well. This stuff near Linden. An intense thunderstorm that's on the southern end of this rain mass. So if anything were to get organized and produce a tornado, it would be this down here. And again, there's some rotation down here involved with this. But again, at the moment, the Weather Service office does not have a tornado warning for you. So that storm is moving northeast. So again, just checking information behind the scenes here too, Taylor, and seeing if we got any kind of reports coming in, because we've had quite a few now out of North Marengo County of the damage. No word of any structures hit.
I have not seen anything either, but the Storm Prediction Center did come out with a mesoscale discussion about 10 minutes ago, and it's highlighting that zone that I was talking about where it's generally along and south of I-20 from Birmingham down towards the southwestern part of Alabama, southeastern part of Mississippi. That's going to be your primary zone over the next few hours.
Yeah, a few minutes ago, a report from Linden Lumber, wind blowing in every direction. A lot of shifts in wind there. And again, Linden Lumber kind of sits on the hillside there, overlooks the Chickasaw Bogue, and that's an area that would have been very close to that tornado earlier. Let's see, I'm just checking. A lot of trees down Highway 43 and County Road 1 at Old Spring Hill Road from the initial tornado that went across. So there's a lot of people reporting damage there. And again, I'm just checking reports from through Facebook Live here. And look, Facebook Live is awesome. It's it's the ability to talk to you guys real time right now. If you see something down, we're going to know about it quick. And get pictures in. That's a great way to communicate with us, and I can check this right here while on TV. So again, just checking some of the comments. I see there's some people from Old Spring Hill Road that were watching about 20-30 minutes ago when that circulation was coming over you. I hope you guys are okay. If you wouldn't mind, comment on this Facebook Live and let us know that you guys are okay. I grew up down in Marengo County, got a lot of friends and family down there, so it's this part of Alabama is a special spot for me because I know everybody down here. So if there's a tornado that crossed Old Spring Hill Road, comment on Facebook Live, make sure you guys are okay. That was down there when this thing happened. There's a rotation that's, again, south of Linden. There's kind of disorganized stuff down here in Marengo County. Let's put on the reflectivity and just look at this thing together. And again, you see this thunderstorm. This is a supercell thunderstorm. It's rotating. It may not be to the point where it would produce a tornado, but it is an interesting storm. It's in that environment. Taylor mentioned this is kind of that hot spot. The Storm Prediction Center is going to continue to watch. So again, just to reiterate, there are no active tornado warnings in our coverage area. So what we will do, I'll tell you what, it's coming up on 12 o'clock now. Guys, you just want to stay on until about 12:02. Okay. All right, so let's do that. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back here at 12 o'clock for a quick severe weather update. If there's a tornado warning posted, we'll be back on TV and Facebook Live. So guys, hang tight. We'll be right back on TV.
This has been your WVUA 23 Fast Track Severe Weather Update.
All right, it's now 12 o'clock on this Tuesday, now officially Tuesday afternoon. Chief Meteorologist Richard Scott here with Meteorologist Taylor Plott. We are watching carefully two individual thunderstorms in our south central and southwest counties here that have some sign of rotation. We had a tornado warning and some tornado damage in North Marengo County. Those storms have moved off to the northeast from where the damage is now, but we are carefully monitoring this storm that's on the Perry and Hale County line, and then the one that is in kind of east central and northeast Marengo County. That spot right there, that's the bounded weak echo region, a donut hole. You can see that clearly from Birmingham's perspective. And there's another one down here between Linden and Fonsdale. Both of these are moving northeast and have a potential to produce a tornado. That one there has me concerned just north of Dayton. Fonsdale sits about right here near Highway 80 and Highway 25 interchange. There's Uniontown. And then this next storm is just northeast of Newbern that has me concerned for a potential tornado as well. Let's look at the velocity with that. And we've got two couplets you see clearly on our velocity signature. So while there's not a tornado warning here at the moment, that could change at any time. So again, we're focused in on northeast Marengo County, also western portions of Perry County for two rotating thunderstorms that could produce a tornado. Again, at the moment, there are no active tornado warnings in our coverage area. Just want to briefly show you that. Tornado watch continues until 5 p.m. We're going to carefully watch trends. If there is a tornado warning posted, we'll be right back here on TV and Facebook Live. Otherwise, we'll see you coming up at 12:30.
This has been your WVU.
All right, here we go. We are back on air with a tornado warning for Perry County and Bibb County. This is across portions of west central Alabama. This is a dangerous thunderstorm that could be producing a tornado. So this tornado warning is a storm that's moving northeast just to the west of Marion at a pretty good clip at around 40 miles per hour. So let's go back into this storm tide and show you where we are. While I do that, I do want to mention there are no other tornado warnings at the moment across central Alabama. So again, a thunderstorm that's coming up on Heiberger right there in North Perry County. There's Marion there. That is Highway 5. Let me stop this loop and show you where it is. And again, a very classic tornado signature now crossing Highway 14 just a few miles northwest of Marion. But again, Heiberger right there, that is Highway 5 that runs north out of Marion. You got Sprott there. This is the Perry-Bibb County line. This is going to be coming up on Brent and Centerville here within the next 45 minutes or so. So a storm that is clearly rotating now in northwest and western portions of Perry County. Let's put this velocity signature on here and look at this thing together. And again, got a rotational couplet there that's crossing Highway 14 as we speak. Again, it's moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. Okay, it looks like we're going to get another tornado warning, too, for the storm that is near Uniontown down to the south. So, again, the National Weather Service issuing 2 tornado warnings now for another storm that's just southwest of that. We're just talking about that about 7 minutes ago. If you watched the 12 o'clock cut-in, another thunderstorm over Fonsdale, very close to Uniontown, that could be producing a tornado. This is north of Dayton. That's Highway 25 in northeast Marengo County. That's the interchange of Highway 25 and Highway 80 that's in northeast Marengo County. Again, we've got a meteorologist, Taylor Plott, here with us as well. And Taylor, we've got 2 storms now we're watching. You see those 2 individual tornado warning polygons. These things are moving pretty quickly now.
Yeah, Richard, they're starting to move a little bit more quickly across the area, and I think part of that is you're getting, like we talked about, we're watching when that trough starts to kick in. That's going to start allowing the storms to kind of blow up a little bit more. I think we're starting to get that activity. So what it's doing is getting a little bit more wind energy in there, so it's going to be able to push these storms along just a little bit quicker. But these are really the only 2 areas of concern, and it's really just been these 2 cells or areas that have been our focus over the past, about an hour now? I would think about an hour at least. And these are probably going to be your dominant ones that are going to be going on at least for the next few hours. So they might travel, several miles, but it's not going to be producing tornadoes all, at least one tornado all along that path. They're probably going to end up getting these cells that are continue to, they'll intensify. They might drop a tornado that might be on the ground for a few miles or so, and then it will cycle back and we do it all over again. So we're going to be watching that over the next few hours, but really anything north of that, there's really not much going on. That rotation that we're watching just to the southwest of Aliceville, that has since really gone away. So you're just seeing some thunder, lightning, heavy rain, maybe some gusty winds with that. But it's just this area right here south of I-20 where these storms are really blossoming now. So places like down the road, Clara, Jemison, Clanton, south side of Birmingham, the Birmingham metro area, generally south of I-20. That's going to be kind of your hot spot here going into probably the next few hours.
Yeah, and again, this is a zone we've been talking about, these storms coming out of Marengo County. So again, we have 2 tornado warning polygons now. I do want to mention too, or guys, are we on Facebook Live? And if we are, let me know. Okay, so we're working on that. So again, right now we've got 2 storms that are tornadic, and these are those supercell type of thunderstorms that's moving northeast at around 40 miles per hour. It's in an environment that's capable of producing a tornado, and these are certainly dangerous looking storms, and there's multiple storms out here now out ahead of this as well that all of these could eventually produce a tornado. I mean, look at that one down around Camden, north of Camden, not too far from Miller's Ferry. That'll be approaching Selma, which is in the Montgomery TV market, but that's a storm that is rotating as well. So let's go into northeast Marengo County. You've got a thunderstorm that's over Fonsdale, approaching the Uniontown area. This thing could have a tornado with it. It is now in the process of crossing Highway 80. There's Fonsdale. This area hard hit by a tornado a couple of years ago. If you remember, the Fonsdale Bar and Grill was destroyed by the tornado. That's just a hair east of that location, but it's close. If you're in Fonsdale, stay sheltered. Uniontown getting sheltered now. That's Highway 60 run that runs down to Uniontown and Highway 80 right there. And this is going to move into south central Perry County towards the Zimmerman area and eventually downtown Marion. You may be under the gun for this rotating thunderstorm that's lifting off towards the northeast. So again, this one also moving northeast at about 40 miles per hour. Let's go on towards the north. Look at the other rotating thunderstorm that's just northwest of Marion. There's Heiberger right there. That's Highway 5. You got Morgan Springs over here. This is Cross Highway 14 clearly in northwest Perry County. That's the city of Marion. You got Sprott over there. This is going to be a storm that's moving directly towards Heiberger area on Highway 5. There's Ellards there. That is the Bibb County, Perry County line. You got the Cahaba River that runs down here. See the wavy Cahaba River that comes out of the Brent Centerville area in east Bibb County. So this is a thunderstorm that's clearly rotating and has the look like it could produce a tornado. And again, the Weather Service office also watching that same storm we were just talking about coming across the Alabama River down there out of Wilcox County in Dallas. And that's in the Montgomery TV market. But that one looks mighty suspicious as well. But again, there's the Cahaba River. That's Ellards there. That's going to come up on southern portions of Bibb County very soon. But if you are in a Heidelberger there, you need to be in shelter. There's Marion, Highway 5 that runs north of Highway 14. If you're in Sprott, you're okay with this storm. Marion, you're okay with this storm, but the problem is you got another one just southwest of you. Another tornadic storm that's essentially over Uniontown now. This rotating storm is going to be crossing, basically running parallel to Highway 183, that's Zimmerman, and then Marion's up there at the top of your screen. So again, a dangerous storm that could be producing a tornado right there. We'll go to a wide view and show everybody out there in terms of what it looks like on radar. We've got multiple thunderstorms ongoing, but the tornado issues are located down here in our southern counties, southeast of Tuscaloosa. We've got more storms northwest of Tuscaloosa. It's raining all over Tuscaloosa County, but again, nothing in terms of tornado right now at the moment. So again, the Weather Service office just mentioning they are going to continue the tornado warnings there as a least course of a regret because these storms are impressive and could easily drop a tornado. Based off the environment, this thing looks quite interesting. And I'm not seeing Facebook Live over here. I know you guys are working on that behind the scenes, so just let me know when we are up. Okay, all right, so they're working on that. So again, we've got a tornado thunderstorm, 2 tornado thunderstorms now over Perry County. Both of these are going to move across Perry County, one moving in southern Bibb County within the next 10 to 15 minutes. Let me show you the warning polygons here, and you will see these individual polygons. One here that's coming out of northeast Marengo County across central Perry. The other polygon up here in northwest Perry is going to move into Bibb County. So we got 2 storms to do a track on both of these and show you who's going to be dealing with what down here. So again, there they are. And let's start with the first storm and do a track on this thing and show you where it is. Moving northeast just like that at 40 miles per hour. So again, these are the community times of arrival for what time the storm's going to be there. So again, the Weather Service just doing a continuation of that tornado warning. We've got a path on right now, but again, you got Heidelberger there. That's at 12:32, Adler 12:41, Abercrombie at 12:46, Brent, if this continues, you could be impacted at 12:53, Trio at 12:59, essentially 1 o'clock, and then Sand Mountain and Oakley after the 1 o'clock hour. So that's storm number 1. The next storm of concern is going to be this one that is just to the south. That's essentially on top of Uniontown now. It's moving northeast just like that at 40 miles per hour. Okay, Uniontown, you need to be at shelter now. It's essentially on top of Uniontown. You go down to Hamburg, you got 12:38, Marion at 12:42, Sprott 12:51. Keep going down the list of the 1 o'clock hour, Adler and Ryderville at 1:01 and 1:13. So those are the times of arrival for that particular tornado warning. So that's what we're looking at. Let me go back out to a wide view and show everybody out there. I'll clear that off. And again, we got a tornado watch in effect for all of West Alabama, generally along and west of Interstate 65. That goes until 5 o'clock this evening. Marengo and Hale County outside the tornado warning now. Again, that has moved out of the county of Hale and Marengo, so no longer under that tornado warning. So again, a dangerous storm that's now totally into Perry County, 2 of them. So essentially running parallel to each other. One's going to move into Bibb County. One's going to move across Perry County. There are no other active tornado warnings currently in our coverage area. But again, we're going to continue to monitor things. I want to show you from Brian Denny in Tuscaloosa. Taylor, it's interesting to note the temperatures dropped down to 69 in Tuscaloosa with the rain falling. Still wind out of the south at 13. So we're watching the environmental conditions and how they react to the storms today. We go over to the Pfeiffer Cam at Fayette. It's raining there. The temperature currently of 72, still pretty warm in Fayette. And again, you see quite a bit of rain falling there from that camera perspective. In fact, pouring right now in downtown Fayette.
And very interesting to note with that is, so the temperatures dropped. What do you say, 69 in Tuscaloosa? Yeah. So it's 69 degrees. The dew point is still pretty high up there. And even when it's raining right now, our instability values are still above 1,000. And so if you were with us earlier today, I mentioned that during this time of year, the benchmark, the lowest level of the Cape values that you would want to see for seeing severe weather is generally about 500. So anywhere above 500, you start to concern yourself with some severe weather potential. It's raining outside, and we're still at 1,000, and it doesn't look like it's going to be dropping that much as we go later on into the afternoon as well. So that's just going to keep the atmosphere unstable for that possible second round. The storms that are closer to where the tornado warnings are in the Dallas, Perry, Wilcox counties area, up into the Birmingham metro, it's still pretty good. It's about 1,500 to 2,000. So there's still a lot of instability for that area south of Interstate 20. One of the things I'm still watching is that line that is across parts of Pickens into northwestern Tuscaloosa, parts of Fayette and Walker counties. They're pretty rough storms. Don't get me wrong. There's some strong storms. They're not severe. There's really no severe winds, but you're getting a lot of heavy rain, a lot of lightning, maybe some pea-sized hail in there. Rotation-wise, there are a few rotations that are kind of what we call transient. They're there one scan or a couple of scans, and then they're gone, and then you might get another area a little bit down the line that gets going. That you're going to get that because you just got a lot of shear in the atmosphere today, but there's nothing that is really concerning. Nothing looks tornadic right now. You got one circulation that's just to the northwest of Barry, but it's not strong at all. But we're watching it. The severe weather threat right now for that area north of Interstate 20 is not as high as it is to the south, where you're getting the tornado-warned storms. But we are still having to watch those very carefully. We are still getting storms that are coming in from Mississippi. And so Meridian South, again, that I-20 corridor, we're going to have to watch it. Places going back towards the Demopolis area, Marengo County, Sumter County, Hell County, those guys, you down there in those areas, you're still going to have to watch these storms as they keep rolling on through in parts of Mississippi or from parts of Mississippi.
Yeah, Taylor, so those storms are certainly concerning down there that have come into our coverage area as well. I do want to mention we're not on Facebook Live yet. We're working on some issues behind the scenes, but we are on TV, so you can join us obviously on WVUA 23 on TV. But again, these storms down in Perry County are tornadic. We got more storms up here to the north that are not at the moment tornadic, but again, they bear watching for any sign of rotation. So let's go down to the south and show you where we do have storms of concern. And again, these are the ones that are essentially they're all over Perry County now. Everything is over Perry County, about to move into Bibb. Let me stop this loop here, and I want to put on the velocity product in just a second. But again, you can clearly see these two individual thunderstorms. These are supercell type of storms that have the potential to drop a tornado. Both of these are moving northeast. Again, there's Brent, and Centerville sits right there in Bibb County. So let's go down into that and look at the velocity. And I will say this, the one that's north of Marion, interesting to note, it looks very impressive on reflectivity, but on the velocity it doesn't look as impressive right now. So again, the rotation with this one that's northwest of Sprott has really diminished over the past 10 to 15 minutes.
You're getting a lot of storms that are just getting congested over the same area right now.
I think you're right, Taylor. I think they're kind of contaminating each other just a bit. The one down to the south still has an impressive rotational couple. Let's look at this thing. Well, I'll say that, but it's not as impressive at the moment, is it? There's another one coming out of the Browns area that's in North Dallas County. That's going to be moving towards Hamburg there, Norman. That one doesn't have a tornado warning, but it's the more impressive circulation now, just crossing Highway 80, about to move into South Perry County. But the one that is on Highway 183, just below Zimmerman, it's not as impressive as it was just a few minutes ago. So we'll see what the Weather Service office decides to do with this particular storm, whether they continue the tornado warning or not. But based off what I'm seeing, there's not much rotation there as it once was just a few minutes ago. I
know this is out of our viewing area, Richard, but if anybody knows anybody in Selma, give them a heads up right now. There's a storm that's coming out of, or it's actually not, it's been out of Wilcox County. It's in Dallas County all the way now, but it's got a nice little hook on it, and its velocity is getting stronger every scan.
Yeah, look at that thing in Dallas. Again, this is in central Dallas County. This is going to be crossing the Alabama River at Selma here pretty soon. But again, this is over in Dallas County. So yeah, Taylor, good eyes on that. That thing is really wrapped up, and it's kind of one of those storms that's out here ahead of the main activity. Let's go to Birmingham reflectivity. Yeah, you see the clear hook on that thing, and there's downtown Selma, and that's the Alabama River. Again, you got the storm that's essentially running along the Alabama River now, and it's about to move into Selma. That's going to cross Highway 80, and if it continues, this could be a storm that could impact Chilton County. So again, a heads up for places like Maplesville, Stanton, and Ryderville. That's in southwest Chilton County. You don't have a tornado warning yet, but it's a storm that is going to move into that area. And
also now the one that is west of Selma that's going towards Uniontown, that one now has a pretty good hook on it, and it's got better rotational couplet.
Yeah, this one right here?
Yeah, that last scan really ramped it up, so I think there's a possible developing tornado that's just south of the Hamburg area.
Yeah, so again, there's your couplet that's beginning to form there. That's the Dallas and Perry County line. You got Dallas County down here. You got Perry County here. That's Norman. Hamburg there. You got the Settle community. And again, I want to check the one to the north that's just north of Marion. Again, there's some wind here, some stronger inbound wind, but I just don't see this thing wrapped up very well. That's just south of Ellards and Abercrombie. Just does not look as impressive as it once was. But the Weather Service so far, they're going to continue the tornado warning in case this thing were to recycle. And that could easily happen. Could see this thing recycle there in northern Perry County. So that's the tornadic thunderstorm there. This could move into Bibb County. That is the Cahaba River that runs towards the Brent Centerville area. That's Gary Springs there, Trio, active. That's the Highway 82 that runs from Brent Centerville down to the southeast towards the Chilton County line. You got Maplesville at the bottom of your screen there. So that's what we're watching with that particular storm. But again, I'm not seeing as much rotation, at least at the moment, with that storm. It doesn't mean that it's not going to happen, but again, at least the rotation is weakened. The one to the south, Taylor's mentioning, carefully watching. Okay, let's see. Weather Service office in Birmingham mentioning we have 2 reports of minor damage. The cedars in the roadway from Gallion Volunteer Fire Department. So again, that was the storm earlier. We've got the damage in Old Spring Hill Road we mentioned earlier too. All right. Yeah, I'm seeing quite a bit of damage Old Spring Hill Road area in Marengo County. And I'm going to get those pictures out to you here in just a little bit. In fact, Taylor, if you want to go over those reports real quick, and I'm going to get those pictures posted real fast.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to mention real quick, one of my friends on Twitter actually posted about this, and it's probably a good idea at this point. So if you live east of 65, if you're in places like Alexander City, Wetumpka, Anniston, over towards the Opelika area, Gadsden, Jacksonville, Anniston, these areas east of 65 where you've got some time before these storms get there. If you live in a mobile home, go find a community storm shelter. There's going to be some that are out there that are open. If you go and check your local county's website, they will usually have a spot on there for shelters, and it will tell you if it's open. And if you find a spot that is open, if you live in a mobile home, just go ahead and go there. Just go there, ride out these storms for the remainder of the afternoon. There's a lot of storm shelters out there that will more likely be doing this day, especially on a big weather day like today. Going over some of the reports, one of the other things that we're going to watch today is potential for some flash flooding. We don't really have any flash flooding ongoing here in central Alabama, but places across northern Alabama are starting to get some flash flooding issues in and around the Huntsville area. But again, nothing really flash flood wise happening right now, but I would suspect places from Tuscaloosa south towards the Butler area right there along Interstate 20, you're just getting rounds and rounds of heavy rain that is going to be moving on through. So we're probably going to have to watch for some flooding potential here shortly. So that is also a threat that they're watching. So definitely don't want to downplay that. I know we're all focused on the damaging wind, and especially the tornado threat that's going on right now, but flash flooding is definitely a severe weather risk that is out there today. Looking at just all the environment that we have across the area today, again, we're really watching the area south of I-20. That's going to be the hot spot that we're watching for the next few hours. That's where you're going to have the best instability, best shear, and every single severe weather parameter that we watch for. That is where all of this storm activity is located. That's going to be the hot spot over the next few hours. Now, after this round moves through, the front's still well off to our west. We're going to have another area low pressure that develops along the front. It's going to be moving to the north, so that's going to increase our severe weather parameters once again. So while we have these storms moving through right now, later on this evening into the overnight hours, that's when we're going to start to see this second round come through. And the Weather Service was talking about earlier today that people are asking, is the atmosphere going to be overwhelmed? Is it going to be able to recover enough for that other round? And they actually believe that it will. And looking on our end here, Richard, me, looking at some of the model data, I see no reason to discredit that possibility out there, discredit what the Weather Service is saying. I think that second round could be pretty rough as we go later on to the nighttime hours. Looking at the tornado warnings right now, if we want to pop up the map again, pop up the radar. So you see all that congestion with the storms that are ongoing there across parts of Bibb and Perry counties. That's a good thing. You want to see that. You don't want to see these cells all out by their own like you see southeast of there for areas towards the Selma area. You see they're more isolated. They're spaced out more. So what we've got going on into parts of Bibb and Perry County, they're really congested. They're really what the storms do. They actually compete with each other. They try to, each of these supercell storms wants to have its own little environment to take full advantage of. And if it has more storms that are close by, then they think of it as like two boxers. They're just fighting for, which is going to be able to become the more dominant one. And it really, really lowers the chance at seeing a tornado with. It doesn't mean that it's impossible, but you get less and less of a better environment for these storms to take fully advantage of. So hopefully this congestion that you see going on down there, it continues hopefully for the rest of the afternoon, but it doesn't look like it's going to be doing that, unfortunately.
Yeah, this little wave's kind of moving on, Taylor. It's 12:30 right now. If you kind of watch this wave, it's moving eastward, and if it doesn't continue to back build off towards the southwest and to the west, then we'll catch a gap, and the Gulf is right back open. So again, right now there's no threat for cities like Tuscaloosa and Northport for the moment. However, that could easily change. But the tornado warnings continue for Perry County and portions of Bibb County right now, and that's what we're watching. And it looks like a new tornado watch is probably going to come out pretty soon. Taylor, I just saw that Mezzo discussion.
Yeah, I'm going to check on it real quick.
So let's go into these storms and let's look at what is happening right now, where the rotation is exactly, and get you a good perspective. There's quite a bit of damage coming in out of Old Spring Hill Road area, North Marengo County, substantial tornado damage in terms of trees and some structure damage as well. But again, the rotating storm that's coming up on Marion, it is no longer showing signs of intense rotation. There's a very broad, weak rotation, the one to the north that's coming up on southern Bibb County. Again, that thing is also not as impressive as it once was just a few minutes ago. The more impressive storm's not even tornado warned down here near Hamburg. Coming up on Highway 14, you were mentioning that one earlier. This is going to cross the Cahaba River near the Settle area. That's 14 that runs up to Radford, right up there at the top of your screen. So again, this is a rotating storm that could produce a tornado in south and eastern portions of Perry County. Let me zoom out just a little bit and show you a wider view of this thing.
While you're doing that, Richard, they don't have the graphic up yet, but just based on the text that they say, the Storm Prediction Center, you're probably going to get a tornado watch for the remainder eastern part of the state.
Okay. Is that just an extension of what we got now, I assume?
Yes.
Okay. So let's put on the reflectivity out of Birmingham. And again, the storm that's coming into southern Bibb County, it looks impressive in terms of reflectivity, but the rotation is not as impressive as it was just a few minutes ago. So again, you got a supercell storm that's clearly still rotating aloft. I just don't know if it's really near the surface at the moment. Doesn't mean you should let your guard down. There's still a tornado warning. So if you are under a tornado warning, assume there's still a tornado there. But again, there's your storm. And this thing could easily wrap back up and produce a tornado. But you see, stuff down to the south is kind of impeding that inflow into the storm. So essentially, it may try to cut it off. to where this thing cannot produce a tornado. But again, if you are in southern and eastern Bibb County, you got a weakly rotating thunderstorm just south of Abercrombie, about to cross Highway 219 that crosses between Bibb and Perry County, moves over the county line there. That's Okmulgee right there. Again, this is going to be moving up on Trio, Bibb Mill right there. This is going to be generally south of Brent and Centerville with that potential tornado.
And Richard, we need to start watching the storm that is just to the northeast of West Blockton and very northern part of Bibb County. That's starting to get some rotation on it. That will eventually move into, it might cross that kind of triple point there where you get Jefferson County, Tuscaloosa County, and Bibb County kind of all intersect right there. If you check the velocity data, it's broad, but you can see where it's trying to kind of twist up. It's trying to hook around there.
Yeah, this is up here. That's the Cobble River, too. Seems like we've been all over the Cobble River lately. This is just where the storms are right now in terms of the rotation. But again, that's a Gray Hill there. That's Gurney Junction, Mossboro. Helena sits right over here. Not a tornado warning for this, but it's a storm that could wrap up and produce a tornado. Again, it's a suspicious storm. I don't know if it's going to be able to do much right now based off of where it is and all the stuff to the south. But again, it's just something we need to carefully monitor. This is Jefferson County. This Bibb County, Tuscaloosa County, and again, that's Shelby County there. So again, a thunderstorm that is weakly rotating that could try to ramp up and produce a tornado. It hadn't happened yet, but it could do so. That's what we're watching there. Let's go down to the south and show you what's happening with the other storms of concern. Let's go to South Bibb County. And let's watch this carefully. It may try to wrap back up at some point, but there's a lot of storms now south of this that may kind of impede this happening, this process. Keep in mind, these thunderstorms, they're on a perfect balance. For a supercell thunderstorm produce a tornado, it's a perfect balance. You got, need a smooth laminar flow into the updraft region. If you got storms nearby, that can create new boundaries and just throw the whole thing off. It's got to be a perfect balance for a tornado to be down, and if you throw that balance off, you kill the tornado. So we may have done that, but doesn't mean this thing can't cycle and get reorganized. So again, based off of reflectivity, it looks impressive. But in terms of, you see it right there, a clear hook echo feature right over Abercrombie near that Highway 219 area where Highway 219 runs out of Bibb County into North Perry County. A Weather Service office continues the tornado warning. That's Highway 82, that's Trio area. You're going to be in the potential path of that. The tornadic storm, this thing down here just southeast of Marion has really died out. There's a new rotation near Subtle. There is Radford. That is Highway 14 that runs down into North Dallas County. That's Highway 219 that runs out of Dallas County. So again, you got another rotation down here that'll be coming more upon Osborne and Panhandle. Panhandle's right there, that triple point of, again, you got Perry here, you got Chilton, and you got Dallas. So again, that's where that storm is going to be heading there. One to the north, again, still a rotating thunderstorm, but the rotation is not as impressive as it once was. I believe the Weather Service office in Birmingham just leading with a side of caution to make sure nothing's going on with that. And I'll tell you what, Taylor, I'm going to let you take over just for a second. I've got a storm chaser that is on this storm here in Bibb County. I'm going to see what he's got with that.
All right, and one thing I was actually watching and actually that's perfect. We keep if we go back full to the Doppler radar. I want to just point this out real quick. So you notice the cells that are near Meridian and south. Those are more scattered, and one of the things that I'm keeping an eye on is you get this whole blow up that we have over here. That's eventually going to move on out, and what's behind it is a lot more scattered and isolated activity. You're not really seeing that whole big blow up of thunderstorms. So it's definitely possible that once we get this wave through early this afternoon, then we could have this other little patch of this first wave that is more cellular, and those would have a greater chance at producing a tornado. One thing I mentioned earlier is that the Storm Prediction Center came out and said that there's going to be a new tornado watch, and I haven't seen anything from the Weather Service in Birmingham, but based on the graphic, the SPC puts out this graphic and kind of highlights the area, circles a zone of where they're watching, and just based on that, what you're probably going to have is an extension of the tornado watch for probably the remainder half of the state. So we'll just have to wait and see what the Weather Service in Birmingham does. They'll coordinate that with the other local offices. So this one would be for Birmingham, Huntsville, and Atlanta. They'll be coordinating when that watch will come out. I would imagine that will probably go through the remainder of the evening, I would suspect. Taking a look at some of the damage, that I'm really not seeing anything damage-wise except for what we've already talked about. Places like down there near Marengo County, we also had that report of some minor damage from the Galleon Volunteer Fire Department. That is really it. That is the only thing that we're actually seeing right now across the area. So as we go later on into the nighttime, we're going to have to watch and see that secondary area that comes in later on tonight, Richard.
Yeah, so again, we got a tornadic storm that is, that's still going on down here in Bibb County and Perry County. It's not as impressive as it once was, but there's still other storms out there. And again, this activity in Marengo County bears watching. It's kind of on the tail end of this stuff, but so far, this little wave continues to behave like we really thought it would. We have storms that are tornadic on the south end of it, and then there's a break back here off towards the west of that. So let me stop this loop. Let's go back in tight to this storm. I just want to look at the velocity and see what we've got going on here. And let's see what we got. So again, we got a tornado warning that continues for Perry County and Bibb County in west central Alabama. We got several supercell type of thunderstorms that's in here. In fact, goodness, it's interesting to see this, Taylor, how many individual storms are going on, and these things are kind of competing with each other, which is helping, I think, lower the tornado risk for any one of these.
Yeah.
But so far, we have had at least one area damage across Marengo County, and that is all of the damage I've heard of so far with this.
Yeah, that's the same thing I was talking about. I haven't really seen much in the way of damage, and you're looking at the reflectivity there. You see all the storms, but if you stay on the velocity, you can see the individual storms themselves with the updrafts and just how close together they are.
This one here that's coming into Bibb County, it looks like it's tightening back up. So let's go in tight, and again, these tornadic storms are only 10, 15 miles apart from each other.
New tornado warning for Bibb and Chilton.
Okay. And this is the tornadic storm that is 8 miles southeast of Centerville. This is the one we're talking about. I just mentioned, looks like it is tightening up. And yeah, there it is right there. This thing's tight little circulation. This may have one down. If it doesn't, it may have one down soon. So again, this is Perry County. This is Bibb County. So this is crossing out of the county now. And again, we're getting damage reports out of Perry County too. So let's look at this thing. Let's look at the correlation coefficient. We haven't really looked at the debris tracker in a while. And again, I don't see anything here, but that's a very tight, small couplet, which may have a tornado in the process of coming down. So it looks like the storms are ramping back up in far south Bibb County. It's now across eastern Abercrombie. That's Highway 219. That's the Bibb and Perry County line there. So let's look at the velocity. And it's moved northeast just a bit. Kind of ramped back up, but then it ramped back down a little bit, Taylor. So again, that's the Talladega National Forest there. That's where this thing is essentially, lifting northeast at 40 miles per hour. So let me zoom out. And let's just look at this thing together. It had a tight couplet just for a couple of scans, and then the couplet started to disintegrate a little bit. Still there, and there may be a tornado down coming up on Trio and Bibb Mill. More circulation down here below Maplesville, and then another circulation in far eastern Perry County near the Dallas County line. Let's see, tornado moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. Let's put on the warning polygon and look at this thing together. And again, there it is. There's your new tornado warning polygon. Goes into Chilton County. This will be north of Mineral Springs and Jemison. This is clearly north of Maplesville. The original southern tornado warning was down here in central Perry County. But again, that one, the rotation is significantly weakened with that storm. Damage reports coming out of Perry County, 3 miles east of Folsom. Storm chaser seeing some damage, 10 trees. Power lines down, a possible tornado there. So that's 3 miles east of Folsom in Perry County. And again, we have the damage report also coming out of North Marengo County too.
Go ahead and just pass this along because it is in our viewing area, but we do have a few trees down on I-65 about 5 miles north of Coleman.
Okay, so that's a storm to the north. That's that long line of storms north of Birmingham. So let's look at that briefly and just see what's going on up there, because I am interested to see, is there a warning with that? No.
There's no warning, but it's with that main line that it's pretty strong. And it's possible that even some 40, 50 mile per hour winds are causing some of these trees to come down because the ground's just so wet.
Yeah, and it's not going to take a lot, especially all this rain falling, how much rain we've had recently. Let's quickly go up to Coleman County and show you that. Again, we've got, some wind damage issues being reported on I-65. You said trees down on Interstate 65, Taylor, is that right?
That's what it has. It says, this from the Weather Service in Huntsville, report of a few trees down on I-65 roughly 5 miles north of Coleman. So I imagine it's probably going to be closer to that Vinemont exit there on 31 and 65.
So it looks like up here in far northern Coleman County. So again, a potential area of wind damage with that particular storm. So again, this one is over downtown Coleman. There's not a warning with that, but there may be some pretty powerful winds, strong straight line winds, maybe a brief tornado out of that. Need to watch that carefully. But so far, I don't see anything there. Let's go over to our Zoom and let's go into West Alabama, the Tuscaloosa County area. And again, rain is falling in Tuscaloosa. This is not severe. There's currently not a tornado threat for the Tuscaloosa area, any part of Tuscaloosa County. So again, for folks watching us in this part of the state, there are no current issues ongoing. If you look at a radar loop, Taylor, watch this storm that's across Highway 219 here in South Bibb County. It really had a nice hook on it. Then it just kind of, I think it occluded off. The storm down to the south, maybe robbing the inflow. And looks a little more disorganized compared to just a minute ago. Yeah,
it looks like that storm to the south is kind of, basically just got in its way. Yeah. It started to ramp up, and thankfully that storm to the south has kind of bumped into it and caused the circulation to weaken.
Let's go over to the velocity and look at that thing together. It had a tight couplet just for a moment.
It's still there, but it's not as tight as it was.
Yeah, you see that below Trio. A little bit of rotation there between active and Trio, about to cross Highway 82. So, again, that's a storm that, it still has a tornado warning. So we need you in shelter if you are in eastern and southeast Bibb County. But again, in terms of a likely tornado, I'd say it's probably not extremely likely with that particular storm. It's possible. But again, let's watch it. And I believe we've got another update from the Weather Service. Yeah, it looks like we're going to get a new tornado watch here in just a moment. National Weather Service office in Birmingham, they're on the way and working to coordinate a new tornado watch for East Alabama. So again, Taylor mentioning that here just a moment ago. New tornado watch going to be coming out here just a little bit for portions of central and East Alabama. Let's see. Let's look at the storm to the north. I'll tell you what, that one that is we looked at earlier that's moved out of the West Blockton area.
It's still there.
Yeah,
but it's not as defined as it once was.
That's right.
And real quick, I know we were talking about we were having some Facebook Live issues. We're not live on Facebook Live, but we are live on the website now. So if you go to WVUA23.com, we are live there. If you for some reason you lose power, but you're able to get on your cell phone, your cell signal is still there. You can find us on the web. We are not on Facebook Live, however, right now.
All right, I know they're working on that too. So technology can be your friend sometimes, and then other times it can cause issues. I know that. So again, we are on TV and on our website, WVUA23.com, so places you can find our live coverage. So again, still got a tornado warning in effect for eastern Bibb County and portions of Perry County. Let's go back into radar and show you that. In fact, I think they canceled the other tornado warning for Perry, didn't they? I don't see it there. Or they allowed it to expire.
I think they allowed it to expire. It's not updating in the chat like it usually does, so I would imagine, yeah, it looks like they just allowed it to expire. There's no real update on it.
Yeah, 12:45 was the expiration time, so that is what happened with that. So there's no longer tornado warning for Perry County. The storm of concern now is in eastern Bibb County and northwest Chilton County. So let's go in and show you what we're looking at. So again, a potential tornado there that's going to be moving into far northwest Chilton County out of Bibb County. But again, I'll say this, the storm is much more ragged compared to just a few minutes ago.
So we got a TDS west of Lawley and Bibb County.
Yeah, I bet that was when it wrapped up pretty quick. Let's look at that thing because I believe it's past Lawley now. Let's go into this thing tight and look at the circulation. So again, a potential, and we are on Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay, so we are on Facebook, and I tell you what, Taylor, I'm going to let you mention that update, and I'm going to share this Facebook Live with that. So go ahead, Taylor.
So, yeah, I can actually see it on the correlation coefficient with what the weather service was talking about, that TDS just to the west of Lawley. If I put a loop on it, I'm looking at it on a different radar source. Yeah, you definitely had a brief tornado there as it crossed the county line into Bibb County. It's still there. So I would suspect that at least we have a possibility that the tornado is still on the ground. But the Weather Service isn't mentioning that they believe it's on the ground. They just say that it may have been a TDS, and I can definitely see that on the correlation coefficient. So whenever you're done sharing the Facebook, which I probably need to do on my end as well, and it looks like we just get an update. Yeah, that last scan that we had, it's kind of falling apart. But you can see in the reflectivity data, there's definitely a hook there. Right on the back end, it's right on the back end of that cell as it's getting kind of contaminated there with the cell to its southeast. So it's possible there might still be a tornado on the ground that is just now crossing. What is it? Is that Highway 5 that is right there?
Yeah, that's right. So it's crossed. It's crossed over Highway 82, or it's 82, in the process of crossing 82. It's already crossed Highway 5 earlier. It's in the process across the US 82, just below Brent and Centerville, as we speak, Taylor.
Yeah, so that is, so it crossed Highway 5, and that TDS I'm talking about. So if there is still a tornado on the ground, it is just crossing or has crossed US 82 between Brent and Maplesville, and that will continue off to the north and to the east. It's not as defined now as it once was, which is good. So it's possible it is weakened and has lifted.
Yeah, I don't. Based off of what's happening, there's these two storms competing with each other. I think most likely one of these is going to win out. And again, that's why we need to watch the one to the south, because this thing could ramp up and produce a tornado down around Maplesville and Mineral Springs. So we do need to carefully monitor that as well. So again, this is the storm to the north. It's still. It could produce another tornado. Let's go into this thing. Let me stop this loop. And again, we're focused into eastern Bibb County. I do want to mention that we are back on Facebook Live now. So if you search for the WVUA 23 Facebook page, you can join us on that. If you do lose power, there's no severe weather issues anywhere around the Tuscaloosa area. This is all to the southeast of town. But let me look at the velocity with this and see if the storm's trying to wrap back up. And it may be trying to develop a new tornado. We had a brief TDS, which is a tornado debris signature. It's essentially our radar was able to see different sized objects in the air just for a moment. It did not last long at all. But understand, we're in a spot in the state where we're not far from the radar site, so if there's one down, we're going to be able to see it pretty easily. But again, there's Trio, there's Active, that's Randolph. This is going to cross Highway 139 there near Bibb Mill within the next 10-15 minutes across far eastern and southeastern Bibb County. This is clearly to the southeast of Brent and Centerville. There's no threat for Brent and Centerville with this particular storm. Let's look at the debris signature and see if I can see that on my end, Taylor, because I'm interested to see if, there it is, if we've got anything there. And yeah, I see that little spot.
That's it right there.
Yeah, that little spot right there, there may be a brief tornado touchdown. And And if you get a chance, Taylor, I would love to know what the elevation of the radar is here. It can't be more than a couple thousand feet in that part of Alabama.
It's about right at 1,000 feet, 1,100.
So yeah, we're looking at 1,000 feet off the ground. So we are seeing a debris signature. So there may be a tornado there. I would say most likely it's lifted by now, but again, based off what we're looking at, we need to be in shelter in East Bibb County, Bibb Mill, Randolph, and then across the county line into Chilton County. This is going to be well north and west of the Maplesville area, well northwest of Clanton. But again, if you are over in the Bessie area, that's Wessington there. You got a Highway 31. That's the Interstate 65 on the edge of your screen. This possible tornado is going to cross Bibb Mill at Highway 139, crossing into Chilton County. That's Chilton County. You got County Road 46 out here, County Road 73 near the Bessie area. I would say the best bet for this potential tornado would go over Bibb Mill, cross over County Road 73, near Bessie, if not a hair to the north, and then cross over Highway 31 here within the next 20-25 minutes or so. So again, still a storm that could have a tornado there. Go ahead, Taylor.
Are you able to loop that? I think it's still on the ground.
Let me let me do a loop. I'm going to step off here and loop it behind the scenes.
Because I'm looking at it on my end, and the Weather Service might local report. No, this is back in Hale County. If you loop that,
there it is, right there, Taylor.
It's still there. So based on what I'm seeing here, I think the tornado is still on the ground. That's just about to cross Highway 139 between Bibb Mill and Randolph.
Yeah, you can see it pop up right there to the south of Trio. There's something there, and it continues. And you see that little jump to the north. Sometimes it signs that it could be in the process of lifting. But, again, there it is right there. It's crossed 82. Looks like a tornado that crossed 82. Most likely a very small tornado, but still a tornado is a tornado. But if you are in Bibb Mill, that tornadic circulation is coming directly your way. You need to be in shelter now. Even Oakley area, you need to be in shelter now in that part of far eastern Bibb County and then northwest Chilton County. You're going to be under the gun for this potential tornado there as well. Lots of reports coming out of Gallion area and Old Spring Hill of tornado damage or possible tornado damage from earlier. We've got quite a few pictures in from there as well. But again, right now we've got a possible tornado. We see that TDS. There's a new tornado watch. We see the TDS, tornado debris signature, right there that is about to cross Alabama Highway 139 at Bibb Mill and just south of Oakley. Again, next stop would be, that's Bessie there. That's County Road 73. And this is, again, something that could still be down. We'll look at the velocity and just see what the couplet looks like.
It's not overly impressive, but that doesn't mean that it's not a small tornado kicking up some trees.
Yeah, and it could be an EF0, EF1 type of tornado. But understand, if it's an EF0 tornado, if you're in a mobile home, that can be a threat to your life. So if you're in a mobile home, get out now, find a site-built structure, and let this potential tornado pass by. But if you're at Bibb Mill, you got to be at shelter now. This possible tornado is about to cross 139 at Bibb Mill. This will be a hair north of Randolph, clearly north of Sand Mountain. But again, this is going to be a dangerous thunderstorm that could be producing a tornado in far eastern Bibb County. We'll go back out to wide view and let's put on the reflectivity and show everybody out there, because I know there's people watching from other. It's kind of like a comma head feature back there, Taylor.
Yeah, I mean,
it's clearly wrapped up.
If you, again, it's still kind of in that iffy
right
zone. Yeah, it's still in that iffy zone with the correlation coefficient. So I mean, it's hard to tell if there is a tornado down, but it's been consistent in on its path, continuing with that area rotation. But it looks like it's trying to. It might be occluding, meaning that's why I had that jump to the north. It kind of
it's cutting itself off.
Yeah, it's getting right back into the storm.
Yeah, that could happen. If this thing cuts itself off, it kills the tornado. You lose that warm, unstable inflow in the updraft. And but again, it could still be a tornado down. If you're at Bibb Mill, you need to be in shelter. Even Oakley area, Bessie, and over in Chilton County, go ahead and go to shelter now. Let's go out to wide view and show everybody out there other storms going on. And we need to watch this one that is just ahead of that. The one that's in West Chilton County, not far from Maplesville, west of Clanton. Need to watch that part of the storm too. But I see no sign of a tornado with any of this down here in Marengo County. The rain continues to fall in the Tuscaloosa area. That is moving off towards the northeast. So this little cluster of rain and storms is going to move off towards the northeast. We could still have some tornado problems here in East Alabama. I see the new tornado watch coming out now, and that is until 8 p.m. And I'll tell you what, those counties in East Alabama, that's until 8 o'clock. West Alabama counties continue until 5 p.m. So the first watch expires at 5 o'clock. The next watch goes until 8 p.m. for East Alabama. So that's what we're looking at there. So again, if you are just now joining us, we are live on TV, live on Facebook, and live on our website, WVUA23.com, and we are watching active weather move across central Alabama. We have one tornado warning in far east Bibb County and northwest Chilton County. We have no additional tornado warnings in our area. I want to go back over to the Tuscaloosa camera, and at Tuscaloosa, it's currently 68. Wind out of the south at 11 miles per hour. I do think once this little cluster moves on out of the way, we may see environmental conditions become more unstable as this happens. 68 in Fayette. It's also cooled just a bit there with the rain falling currently in Fayette. This is the Pfeiffer facility camera. So here's our watch warning map. We've got this large tornado watch area that it covers every bit of central, west, and east Alabama. It does not include Tennessee Valley counties north of Hamilton. But again, everybody in our coverage area is currently under tornado watch. West Alabama, that goes until 5 p.m. East Alabama, that goes until 8 p.m. So again, that's the latest information on that brand new tornado watch just issued. Weather Service office in Birmingham also watching the storm near Maplesville. We were just talking about that. They are interested in that particular storm as well. So let's go back over to radar and show you what we got. We got multiple thunderstorms across central Alabama. All right, the Weather Service about to issue new tornado warning for Chilton County. So let's go in tight to that storm and show you what they are looking at. So brand new tornado warning about to come out for Chilton County in central Alabama. And they're talking about this storm that's not far from Maplesville. So again, we got the initial rotation. Looks like it's totally occluded itself off. In fact, look at that, Taylor. Look at the radar loop. See that hook, how it just kind of gets wrapped in there. So I think this storm to the north is dead. The initial circulation is most likely going to fizzle now, and then this storm down here is going to become more dominant. But you know, there's two different areas I'm watching here. One on the north side of Maplesville and one on the south side of Maplesville. Both of those could potentially produce a tornado. And we got a warning that's about to come out. So if you are in central Chilton County, there's about to be a brand new tornado warning issued. The one to the north, I think it's pretty much out of here.
Yeah, that one's pretty much dead at this point. So one of the things that we'll just continue to watch for today is any of these cells when they ramp up and they start to either produce a tornado or just about to produce a tornado. If there's any storms to the south, that starts to inhibit that storm from doing what it's trying to do, and then it's that southern storm or the storm next to it, closer to the or further to the south. That one ends up becoming the more dominant one. So you get this just competing match back and forth, like I mentioned. You might get a storm that starts to produce a tornado, but then you got another storm to the south of it. It kind of moves on, gets closer to it, and then now it's that one that starts to ramp up and stuff. So you're probably going to be seeing this throughout the remainder of the afternoon, these just storms going back and forth, all along this zone here from southwestern Alabama into now parts of eastern Alabama here in the next couple of hours. So it's just going to be this back and forth action. At least that's what it looks like it's going to be over the next few hours, Richard.
Yeah, and I do want to mention they have officially posted that tornado warning, Taylor, now for Chilton County. That goes till 2 o'clock, so a brand new tornado warning now being issued for Chilton County for this storm here. Not an incredibly strong sign of rotation, but again, it's still a storm that has that potential just now northeast of Maplesville, about to cross 191. That's Highway 31, that's Mineral Springs, Jemison area, and then I-65 on the north side of Clanton. So again, formerly Clanton on the north side of town is under that tornado warning. So that's what we're looking at there. So again, two tornado warnings now, one for East Bibb County, North Chilton County. We can pretty much X that one out now. I think that storm is dead in terms of a tornado potential. Yeah, it's still storm there, but in terms of tornado, I think that one's gone. This is going to be our new developing tornado just on the northeast side of Maplesville, so that's what we're watching. And John DeBlock at the National Weather Service office in Birmingham did confirm that they're going to allow that tornado warning for Bibb and North Chilton to be canceled here in just a minute. So they're in the process of Xing this one out. So this polygon's going to fade away. This one will be our new tornado warning polygon until 2 p.m. Let's go to the velocity product and just look at this thing together. And again, it's most likely there's not a tornado down at this very second, but these storms have been cyclical and they produce a rapid rotation and produce a tornado. So while I don't think there's an immediate tornado down, this thing could wrap around and produce one pretty quickly. Okay, just checking that update with the Weather Service office. So let's look at, tell you what, let's look at reflectivity out of Birmingham. And here's their supercell thunderstorm. Let's just kind of do a little analysis on this thing together. There's your tornado warning polygon. See, it does include Mineral Springs and areas on the north side of Clanton. So again, what you've got is a supercell storm. This is your hook feature right here. So you've got your what we call forward flank downdraft. There's a strong downdraft wind that happens up here. Cool, stable air hits the ground, spreads out, forms a little boundary. On the backside of a tornado, you've got a rear flank downdraft that will cut around and it will pinch off that updraft, a very small corridor. And when that happens, a rotating thunderstorm can drop a tornado down very quickly. I don't think that's happened just yet. Your rear flank downdraft is still right here. Your forward flank downdraft is right here. So there's a big wide open spot. You haven't really pinched this thing off to the point to where there will be a tornado down. However, you can ask Taylor, I mean, it doesn't take long. We're looking at 5 minutes and it could have a tornado down. So it's a very quick process, but the Weather Service office in Birmingham, they're realizing the environmental conditions are favorable for this to happen. A very quick spin-up tornado type of setup, and we may see that happen.
Yeah, if you remember, Richard, I can't remember exactly what day it was, but it was when we had, it was here in Tuscaloosa, we had a storm that was to the south that had tornado warning on it that was close to Moundville, and then one immediately popped up almost right on top of the campus of University of Alabama.
Yeah.
And within a matter of like 2 minutes, you had no rotation, and then you had good rotation, and a warning was issued immediately.
It didn't take long. I believe that one dropped an EF1 at Holt Lock and Dam. So that particular tornado. So that was, let's see, was that the?
It was earlier this year. It was back in like April or.
Yeah, it was one of those events earlier in the spring. But yeah, I remember that one very well because we were on air, and all of a sudden all of our EAS alerts started going out here on campus, and whenever we had a circulation on top of us. But again, the one to the north, it's gone. That one up at Mid-Mill, Oakley, I know you still see the polygon. You can scratch that one out. Our dominant circulation is going to be the one down in New Convert, that's on 191. There's Hubbard, there's Thorsby there. And again, this thing is trying its best to wrap around. If there's going to be a tornado, it's going to develop somewhere, I think on the east side of Highway 191. It's going to be below Hubbard and very close to Thorsby and then Mineral Springs. It's going to be north of Clanton. But again, if a tornado can form, it's going to form right here, north of New Convert, north of Maplesville. Okay, I know it's pouring rain in Maplesville, but the tornadic circulation is clearly going to be to your north. So let's zoom in tight and look at this thing together. And I want to look at the velocity with that. So again, there's still not much there, Taylor, in terms of couplet. There's not a screaming evidence there's a tornado down with that.
They actually have just now canceled that warning for Bibb and Chilton, so we just got that Chilton one. Yeah, to the north one.
So just one tornado warning now we're working. This is for Chilton County. This is Isabella there. That's Thorsby, Gap at the Mountain, the corner of your screen, and then you got Mineral Springs right here. So again, if there's a tornado that's going to develop, it hasn't developed yet. There's not a tornado down. I don't think there's a tornado down right now, but that could change. But if you're in Thorsby, Gap at the Mountain, Mineral Springs, you need to be in shelter, as this thing could spin up and drop a tornado pretty quickly. We've already seen that happen a couple of times.
One thing I want to note real quick is we're starting to now get that back end of the rain move out of Mississippi, out of parts of western Alabama. It's just probably give it another 30 minutes or so in Tuscaloosa, and then you'll be rain-free. And now we're going to have to watch the backside of this, looking at some of the parameters. Even with the rain-cooled air, I guess I don't even know if you can call it rain-cooled air. It's knocked the instability down just a little bit, but you're still seeing between 500 and 1,000 Cape values for Tuscaloosa, parts of Pickens County, down into parts of Sumter and Greene County. But notice how there's not this big rain activity that we have over here right now across parts of southern Mississippi. So that is not going to inhibit more instability from moving on in here. If that area near Hattiesburg was blown up, I would be more inclined to say that we're probably not going to see much in the second round. But with it being very scattered, instability is going to be ramping right back up into parts of western Alabama here soon, probably.
Yeah, Taylor, I mean, this is not enough to impede development. Now, if this big massive rain just stayed down here, then yes. But the entire thing continues to slide off towards the east, and it's only 1 o'clock. We got a long way to go before the environmental conditions are over with in terms of a tornado potential. Go over to our radar loop, and let's just look at this thing together, Taylor. Let's just kind of watch this thing. And yeah, you see this big blossom of rain and storms lifting northeast, and I don't see much back here developing. In fact, it looks like things are kind of weakening back in west, central, and south Mississippi.
You even get some clearing out there, too.
Yeah, it looks like breaks in the cloud cover. So, you know, what happens back here is this next round going to become a big round and produce tornadoes here, and that is a distinct possibility as there is unstable air back here in Mississippi, and all this is going to work back into Alabama. So we're going to watch trends for the next hour or so, but I think this big blob of rain is going to continue lifting northeast, and then we catch a bit of a break before more active storms come in. So it's going to be a while before things are over with. We're looking at least 4 or 5 a.m. before things are all said and done. May have a gap for a while. There's a possibility things slack up for several hours.
And one of the other things, Richard, that we were talking about earlier today is, you know, I mentioned that usually in this type of setup that we would get in the wintertime, at this point, I would say anybody north of that big line that we have in Alabama, you're done. You're done for the rest of the day. Well, that's not going to be the case this time because we got this other shortwave, this little piece of energy that's moving through. But one of the things that it has, and we were talking about this earlier, is you have better lapse rates. And for people that don't know what that means, that's the rate at which the temperature drops as you go higher into the atmosphere. And so you get temperatures that you start off, say, around 70 degrees here in Tuscaloosa, then you go up a few thousand feet, it's down to, say, 40 degrees. You go up a few more thousand feet, it's down to like 20 degrees. If you get this big temperature drop as you go higher and higher, it doesn't really matter that you're still 70 degrees in Tuscaloosa with a dew point of like 65 and you have rain that's moved through. Your instability is going to be higher because you have the colder air moving on top of the warmer air. So that's this kind of different setup that we have here, is that even though usually we'd be done at this point, we're not in this case because we have a little bit of a better system moving in behind it.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a two-part system coming in. So the first wave is what we're dealing with now, and then another wave comes in behind this. So, again, it's still raining in Tuscaloosa and Birmingham. This is all stable air. There's no sign of severe weather with any of this. Over the Tuscaloosa area, we have a tornado warning for Chilton County. And Weather Service is about to issue a tornado warning for Otaga County. That's in the Montgomery TV market. But, again, let's go into this storm and show you what we've got in Chilton County, because we still have a tornado warning in effect there. And let's just watch this storm carefully and see if this thing can get better organized and drop a tornado. So let's take radar full, Jen, and let's just look at this thing and see how the storm is evolving. And, yeah, there's the tornado warning for Otaga County. So let's put on velocity and stop this radar loop. And again, there's not much sign of a tornado here right now. Doesn't mean there can't be one, but fortunately this storm does not look like one that would produce a big tornado or a long track tornado. There's some strong winds here, but I don't see very strong evidence of a tornado down at the moment. Look at the debris signature, just make sure we don't see any evidence of debris. I see nothing there. Look at the lightning output, just interested to see how much lightning, and clearly this storm is producing a lot of lightning. There's a lot of instability involved here. Again, strong updrafts, you get thunder and lightning. So again, that's what we're dealing with right now. Look at the warning polygon. It's still the tornado warning in effect for much of central Chilton County, generally near north of Clanton. Mineral Springs, Jemison, you are on the north end of this tornado warning polygon, so it's clearly northeast of Maplesville now, but that red polygon is a tornado warning till 2 o'clock. And again, we're just watching to see if there's any sign of this thing wrapping around. I don't see that happening yet. But still stay in shelter if you're in Chilton County. Tornado warning is tornado warning.
I want to go ahead and say this. I know it's out of our viewing area, but that one in Otaga is probably the best signature we've had today. And correct me if I'm wrong, this is in a rural part of Otaga County, but it's going to cross 65.
Oh, man, look at that.
I think, where is that famous sign on 65 that says, go to church or the devil will get you? I think it's in that area near Marbury. So
that's right.
Yeah, if anybody knows anybody down in that area that's around that 65 area, you need to give them a heads up.
Yeah, Mulberry and Verbena there. This is going to move northeast into eventually southeast Chilton County. That's the Coosa River right there. And again, this is technically right now the Montgomery TV market. But again, let me tell you what. Check a loop here and see what we've got with this storm, because it is certainly impressive. And I would be willing to bet it has a tornado down with that. The storm's moving kind of northeast, and it may stay just south of Chilton County, but again, it's moving generally in this fashion like that. So it could stay just south of Mulberry there. That is I-65. That is Highway 31. And then you got Prattville and Montgomery down here towards the bottom of your screen. You see Wetumpka over here in Elmore. So again, this tornadic storm certainly looks impressive. That's what you're looking for when you want to see a larger tornado down, is that tight gate-to-gate shear couplet. The one to the north, the one that we have a tornado warning for our coverage area in Chilton County, is not as tight of a couplet. Yeah, you got some stronger winds involved here, but it doesn't appear to be strong rotational winds. There may be a tornado tried to develop out of this, but it hasn't happened yet. So let's go back over to our reflectivity. Just want to see what the structure of this storm looks like. And quite frankly, it's messy. It's very messy. If anything, down here to the south, east of Maplesville, there's a little bit of appendage down there in that part of the storm, but that's not what the tornado warning itself is for. Tornado warning is for this part of the storm coming up on Mineral Springs, so north of Clanton. But I'll say this, if you are in Clanton, so watch that back end of that storm. A lot of times the new rotation will try to develop on the southwest side of a cluster of storms like this. So in the Weather Service office in Birmingham, they're going to continue this tornado warning so far until 2 o'clock. So again, they're seeing something here where they feel like it's a good idea to keep a tornado warning going for this for now. But again, this down here to the south, and they need to watch it. That could have a potential tornado a little bit later. Let's go back over to our wide view and show you everybody out there. And again, we have rain falling in Tuscaloosa. There's no current tornado threat for the cities of Tuscaloosa and Northport. Again, in fact, the rain is just about to stop here in Tuscaloosa. We've got rain falling in Demopolis. There's no sign of any of this severe at the moment. But again, these storms down here are going to continue sliding off towards the east. So essentially this up here in Birmingham, Tuscaloosa is more, not really stable there, but it's a little more stable compared to what's happening down to the south. This wave is going to continue moving off towards the east, but our only tornado warning in our coverage area is for Chilton County. So folks watching us in West Alabama, currently there are no issues anywhere else at the moment. The rain rates aren't overly heavy in Tuscaloosa and Birmingham areas, so we're not looking at a real big flooding issue ongoing right now. So for those cities, yes, it's raining, but it's more of a nuisance rain, not more of a hazardous rain. So again, cities of Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, rain continues to fall. So let's go down into the storm that does have a tornado warning in Chilton County. And this thing just looks messy.
Yeah, they're really not spaced out like they were earlier. Even when they were congested, they were a little bit spaced out inside that congested area, but now they're kind of congealing into more of a line segment here.
Yeah, so let's look at the velocity with this, Taylor, and just see what we got. So again, if there's any sort of rotational couplet, it's over here in the Thorsby area now, coming up on Mineral Springs. There's a gap of the mountain. That's Highway 145 that runs north out of the Clanton area into northeast Chilton County, eventually crosses the Coosa River. So again, if there's anything that's going to develop a tornado, it's going to be this. It's over Thorsby now, coming up on Mineral Springs, and that continues to move northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So let's do a track on this thing and just show you where it's heading. And since it's moving northeast at 40, we'll zoom out just a bit. This will cross the Coosa River if it does hold together. But again, right now, there's little chance there's actually a tornado down at this very second. But understand that could change at any time. So this thing's moving northeast at 40 miles per hour.
Do have a new damage report coming out of Marengo County. It's from these storms when they came through earlier. Trailer destroyed and front door ripped from the house. So definitely looks like we had a tornado down there.
Yeah, in Old Spring Hill. I've been seeing quite a bit of damage. In fact, I'm going to pull that up here in just a second. Let's see. And I tell you what, Jen, here in just a second, I'm going to take our weather iPad and show you what some of the damage is coming in.
Just now getting more reports. So now we're starting to get some flooding potential here across the area. Hoover PD is reporting Highway 31 is starting to flood.
All right, Jen, let's take the weather iPad briefly. This is that mobile home you're talking about, Taylor. This is it right here in Marengo County. That's some of the damage and some of the trees there. So this was, again, near the Old Spring Hill Road area. And you see that was a mobile home, I believe, there that was damaged by a tornado. See a lot of cedar trees snapped. If you've ever been in a cedar thicket with a lot of cedar trees, when a tornado has passed through, the smell is incredibly strong. But again, that's what we're looking at there. There's a home that's been damaged by a falling tree. Again, this is clearly tornado damage in North Marengo County from that storm earlier. Let's go back over to radar. And again, I just wanted to show you how things are looking down in Marengo. I do appreciate all the pictures and the video and everything we've been seeing through social media down there in that part of the state. But again, that's what's happened. Tornado went through there and has clearly done quite a bit of damage. So let's look at this storm carefully. And by the way, this is the times of arrival for this particular possible tornado. Mineral Springs, 123, Jumbo, 127, Marble Valley at 142, Talladega Springs, 148, Weguffka there at 151, Sylacauga, 204, Oldfield there at 208, and then Sycamore at 212. So those are the times of arrival for this potential tornado.
Hey, Richard, they are now, so Hoover Police Department is reporting they are shutting down Highway 31 at the Galleria and diverting traffic through the shopping center. So it looks like they're getting some pretty hefty flooding going on down there.
Tell you what, let's look at that storm that's up there to the north. I believe that was the rotation we were watching earlier for...
I think you're right.
Yeah, North Bibb. Yeah, there it is there. So this has already passed through Hoover. So that heavy core that's over Lake Purdy has caused clearly some flooding issues in Hoover. But again, that small core, that storm, is packing a punch in terms of flooding. Now, that's not a severe thunderstorm, but it is certainly packing a punch. And again, a note from the Weather Service office in Birmingham, that area floods a lot. That's one of those typical flood spots around Hoover. So it is common to have significant flooding in storms like this, where elsewhere you may not have flooding. So it's interesting to see that. Go down to the south and look at this storm that is in Chilton County. Again, we still have a tornado warning until 2 o'clock for the Mineral Springs area. This is north of Clanton. That is Highway 31. And our possible tornado is going to be very close to Mineral Springs. Look at the velocity signature with this. And again, it's a storm that could produce a tornado. It looks like it's trying to wrap up just a little bit. We're starting to see more of a better sign of rotation now. So it's over Mineral Springs. Looks a lot better than it did just a minute ago, but still not quite a perfect circulation. But north of Gap of the Mountain, that's about to cross Highway 145. That is the Coosa River right there. It's going to be crossing the Coosa River in a matter of about 10-15 minutes. So let's go down to the south. The Weather Service office in Birmingham, talking about this storm that's down in Chilton, or down in Autauga County, is incredibly impressive. There it is right there. So again, that's I-65. This is down in Autauga County. There's Billingsley and again, our far southern coverage area there. This is well outside of our market. But again, that's a tornado most likely. North of Prattville. It's going to be crossing Highway 31 in I-65 within a matter of about 15 to 20 minutes. So clearly a tornado down with that storm. But again, our storm in our area that is tornadic is this one north of Clanton. And it's trying to wrap up on itself, but it hasn't done that yet. So north of Lomax, there's Gap at the Mountain, Jumbo. Again, the Coosa River, this possible tornado is tracking northeast at 40 miles per hour. But I don't see screaming evidence of a tornado yet. Weather Service saying they're just still holding on to the Chilton County one. They're monitoring this thing to see if it can wrap up. And again, it hasn't really done that yet. And what we mean by wrap up is the storm wrap up and produce a tornado. Just it's close, but not quite there.
I'll say this: if you flip over to the reflectivity, it looks like it's trying to. You're starting to get the striations in the reflectivity data. Where you see there, it's trying to hook back around. The velocity's just not there yet, so it's trying to cycle through this again, so we'll have to see if it succeeds or not.
Yeah, we'll see if it can make it this time. You know, tried to do this a little while back, but it just failed. But again, you can clearly see your hook feature right back here in the backside, the southern side of this storm. This is north of Lomax, and again, this is a storm that's going to try to ramp up and produce a tornado over Mineral Springs and Jumbo. Again, this is going to cross Highway 145 pretty soon. This is generally north of Gap at the Mountain, but I will say this. On this backside of the storm where that riverflank downdraft comes around, a lot of times you can have some strong straight line winds back here on the south end of this. So if you are at Lomax or Gap at the Mountain, you may have some pretty strong winds with that that moves your way here in a matter of about 10 minutes or so, or really over the next 5 minutes in Lomax and then 5 to 10 minutes in Gap at the Mountain. So again, this thing is trying its best to wrap around itself and produce a tornado. Look at the velocity.
I think if you give this storm about 5 minutes,
we're going to know.
I think it might, because I'm looping on the velocity data, and you can just see in the velocity data how it is turning and trying to hook back around, and that's one of the signs, especially with a cell that's trying to produce a tornado again, trying to cycle and finishing its cycle. You will see these little indications in the velocity data, and it's definitely trying. So here in the next 5 minutes or so, I think we'll find out for sure whether it's going to be able to or not. But it's getting very close.
Yeah, so again, it's in the process of trying to produce a tornado. That's why we still have this tornado warning in effect, because the potential of the storm. Again, the rotation is not incredibly impressive, but at any time it could wrap up and produce a tornado. But again, over the past 15 minutes or so, there just hasn't been much with this storm. But again, what's happening is that rear flank downdraft's working around, and it's trying to pinch off that updraft right here at Mineral Springs or Jumbo. And if it can happen, it can drop a tornado. I don't think it'll be down long. I think the storms to the south will kind of disrupt it. But we have a brief window where northeast Chilton County may have a tornado. Hasn't happened yet. So let's go back out to a wide view and show everybody out there, because I don't want to spend too much time there unless there's a tornado down or about to be. We'll go back to it as soon as we see something. And Taylor, keep an eye on that too. If you see this thing wrap up pretty good, let me know. But you see the storm down to the south. I think it's kind of blocking the inflow just a bit. But again, got quite a bit of rain happening in Birmingham. But guess what? Tuscaloosa, the rain is coming to an end right now. More rain down to the south, but all this is going to skirt to the east like that. We got rain falling in the Demopolis area in West Marengo County. And no sign of a tornado with any of that down there. I don't see anything with that. But again, still an interesting setup with this little wave moving off towards the northeast. What can happen behind this? We're going to get a lull for a few hours, and then another wave moves in. We do think that's a very real possibility. So we're not out of the woods yet, but this first round is moving on pretty quickly now.
One thing
One
thing I would be very interested to see is what's the temperature in Tuscaloosa right now? Is it
68?
All right, so we're at 68. So you see, we're getting some clearing here. One thing that will be very interesting to me is once we get this rain completely out of the area, if that temperature jumps back up into the low 70s, then we're going to have the atmosphere's recovered at that point.
Yeah, it won't take much, just a few degrees of warmth, and that probably will happen. Taylor, I'm just looking at the information from the Storm Prediction Center, and instability values are very high back in Mississippi. This isn't doing much to prevent the air from becoming unstable. Looking back in Mississippi, it looks like temperatures are well in the 70s. Even Columbus, Starkville's reporting 70 with a dew point of 66. So Macomb, Mississippi, 77 with a dew point of 70.
Richard, we need to go back and check on that storm just to the east of Thornsby. You're starting to get more of a hook on it now.
All right, so let's go back into this. And again, we still have a tornado warning in effect for Chilton County in our coverage area. This is the reason we're on air, is because we have a tornado warning in one of our counties, and that is Chilton. There are no tornado warnings in any West Alabama counties, but we have this storm that looks like, I think you're right, Taylor, it's definitely looking like it's beginning to wrap up and could produce a tornado very quickly. So let's go into it tight. All right, yes, it's wrapping up. So if you are in northeast Chilton County, or I would even say northwest portions of Coosa County, let's go to shelter now. If you're along the Coosa River right here, we may have a tornado in the process of developing. That's going to come right over the Jumbo area. It's crossing Highway 145 as we speak. So we may have a tornado in the process of dropping here in Jumbo. And then again, this is going to cross the Coosa River. So a dangerous storm that may be in the process of dropping a tornado there as we speak. So again, this is going to cross the Lay Lake area. The Lay Lake Dam sits about right in here. So again, that's where this thing's going to cross. Very close to the Lay Lake Dam right there. So again, your tornadoes coming up on Jumbo. Very sparsely populated part of northeast Chilton County, but you've got a lot of homes here, a lot of camp houses here on the Coosa River. A lot of people live out here. A lot of people camp out here. So given the fact that school's still out for many of the local school systems, people are most likely still on vacation. You may be out here at your camp house, your lake house, or at your home, and this tornado is coming up on you. So we're going to watch this carefully. I do think this thing is trying to drop one. And if it does, it's going to happen pretty quick. Within the next 5 minutes or so, we'll see one down. Let's look at the correlation coefficient, the debris tracker. I don't see anything there, but we're going to be watching out for that drop off of those values to see if there's a tornado there. And it's going to be over Jumbo when that happens. Let's go over to the reflectivity out of Birmingham. And it's still there, clear evidence of a hook. You see a little bit of a gap between the storm to the south and this one. This thing's kind of wrapping around on itself. So Jumbo, be sheltered now. Coosa River, Lay Lake area, north of Lay Lake, the dam, be sheltered. And then northwest Coosa County, places like Weguffka, you need to be in shelter too. So potential tornado moving into northwest Chilton County. Out of Chilton County, moving into northwest Coosa County. So a possible tornado here. And Taylor, if you'll keep a very close eye on that, I want to go back off towards the west. I want to look at this storm that's down in Marengo County and just see what we got down here, because these are storms kind of on the back side of that cluster. And let's just see what these storms are doing. Again, Tuscaloosa, the rain is coming to an end. We've got active thunderstorms near the south of Demopolis. Let's just look at these carefully. I don't see any screaming evidence of a tornado. With that, the velocity, there's not much there. Maybe some weak rotation below Myrtlewood, but I don't see much here with these storms that's over Marengo County. But again, that could change as these storms continue to move off towards the east. All right, let's go back towards the east direction and look at the storm that's in Chilton County. That is tornadic. And the one that, the Otago County storm, the rotation has fizzled out. You see that, Taylor? Look at that near Deatsville and Marbury.
Yeah, it's part of that line of supercells there, so it's having to compete with the other ones. The cell that is just to the east of Otagoville, that one probably has the best rotation within that area right now.
It's almost like a zipper effect. They keep going, building downwards further south, closer to the Gulf of Mexico. So again, if you are in Mineral Springs area, let's be sheltered as a potential tornado could be there. This thing is wrapped up a little bit, but again, it's still fairly broad. I don't see extremely tight rotation. That's Jumbo, but you can clearly see the air is rotating here. Anywhere you see red is winds blowing away from the radar site. Green is winds blowing towards the radar. And again, you got a rotational couplet there. Doesn't mean there's not a tornado down, but again, I don't see extreme, tight evidence of a tornado.
I'll say this real
debris.
quick. If you look, it's very tight there near Jumbo on the velocity data. Sometimes we've seen this happen before when you get these cells that try to ramp up real quick. You'll get this very little tiny circulation that
then
gets
you get a little tornado down.
A little tornado down, and there's a little bit of an indication that there could be something happening right there.
Yeah, right in here.
Right in the Jumbo area.
Yeah, and the Weather Service just mentioned John DeBlock on the chat room with us, and we're on a chat room service with the National Weather Service office in Birmingham, and those guys are the ones that actually issued the tornado warnings themselves. We don't issue a tornado warning. When they post it officially, we go on and track the storms, report what's happening, and they are mentioning they are not planning on continuing the tornado warning. They don't think this thing's going to keep going so east of Chilton County. So if you're in Coosa County up here, just past the Coosa River, the northwestern quarter of the county, Weather Service office may not continue that tornado warning for you. So that's the latest information on that. It just depends on what happens in the next couple of minutes, but again, that's your broad rotation about to cross over Lay Lake and then move into Coosa County. So the Weather Service office, they're going to continue the tornado warning. They say until 2 o'clock. Possible tornado located over Lay Lake Dam, about 9 miles northeast of Clanton, moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. Storm slowed down just a bit. Taylor is moving 30 miles per hour now to the northeast again, but I'll say this, it's 1:33 now. Taylor, there's Chilton County. This is the end of your polygon. So I would say in the next 10 to 15 minutes, it's going to be out of the polygon.
Yeah, just give it about 10 to 15 minutes, and it's going to be out of Chilton County into Coosa County.
Yeah, so this is the polygon. Yeah, I mean, incredibly small tornado warning polygon, and this is a very rural part of Chilton County. Got County Road 180, County Road 8 right here. That's a Lay Lake Dams. It's about right there. This is all part of the Coosa River system. So again, your possible tornado is over Jumbo, tracking northeast towards Lay Lake now. That's the gap of the mountain down there. You got Mineral Springs here. So again, our potential tornado is moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. So in just 10, 15 minutes, I think we'll be able to go back over the program. Let me zoom out a wide view and let's look at everybody.
Yeah, I'm looking at the storms right now that are near the Demopolis area, parts of Marengo County, and they're strong. Don't get me wrong, but there's really no evidence of big-time circulation. Nothing that is screaming that we're going to be dealing with more tornadoes over there, at least for right now.
Yeah, we'll watch them carefully. Obviously, we'll keep an eye on radar trends. There's our little tornado warning polygon for, again, portions of Chilton County to the northeast of Clanton near Lay Lake Dam. Again, all of West Alabama, we got a tornado watch technically until 5 o'clock, and then East Alabama counties, a tornado watch till 8 p.m. So that's what we're looking at right there. So no new information for the Weather Service office in Birmingham. Let me put back on the radar reflectivity and show you what we've got. So guys in the control room, we are planning on being able to go back over the program here pretty soon. I do want to mention that we are also on Facebook Live. You search for the WVUA 23 Facebook page. We're on there. So if you have any reports or if you need to, if you've got questions, information on there, if you see any damage where you are, it's always a good way to get that information to us. So I do want to thank everybody for joining us on TV and on Facebook Live. We are in a situation where the tornado warnings are in the process of expiring. I think we're about to get into a little bit of a lull period for most of our coverage area. This first initial wave is moving on. We've had at least one tornado touchdown in Marengo County at Old Spring Hill. There's quite a bit of damage there, some structural damage too. What happened tomorrow at the National Weather Service office in Birmingham, they'll send out the survey crews to look at the damage and determine how strong the tornado was, how big it was, how long it was on the ground, and that's what will happen there. But the rain is coming to an end in Tuscaloosa. We're going to watch conditions behind this rain and see if we can once again destabilize and have another round of severe weather after this current round. So again, that's the latest information on that. So again, some tornado damage in Marengo County. We've got some damage near Gallion. That was part of the same little cluster storms down there. And I believe we had some damage in Perry County too. So see if this is on our report so far. It may not be populated yet. There it is, yeah. So there's a tornado damage in Marengo County, Southern Hale County, and then one spot of possible tornado damage in northwest Perry County. But so far, this is it, Taylor, across our entire area. So it's interesting to see, this first round, the lack of damage across much of central Alabama. Most of this has been in a small, generalized corridor there.
Yeah, most of it's been in that small area, which is good. I mean, it's of course bad that we had tornadoes anyway, but at least to keep it in a very localized area is good, especially with the setup that we had with this round. So now we'll continue to watch this one because we still got parts of eastern Alabama to go through with this with this first batch, and so it's possible that even though the storm in Chilton County is kind of struggling right now, that doesn't mean that once it gets into parts of Coosa County and then eventually later on down the road it doesn't ramp back up. But our focus now starts to become more, okay, are we going to destabilize again, which I think we will, and then what happens? Now we do have a tornado warning for Coosa County.
They are going to continue the tornado warning, so guys, in the control room, we will be on air still for a little while. This goes until 2:30, so tornado warning over Coosa County has been issued. A tornado near Lay Lake Dam, or about 10 miles southwest of Talladega Springs, moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. So they've upped the speed on this thing back to 40. It was at 30. So the Weather Service office mentioned they decided, hey, just least course regret, let's keep this tornado warning going.
Yeah, the velocity's it's not overly impressive, but it's ramped up in a way that you have weaker rotation, but it's tighter.
Yeah, okay. Let's look at the reflectivity just for a moment and zoom in tight. I just want to see how the structure of the storm looks here. So again, we're continuing now, a new tornado warning being issued for northwest Coosa County. We've got Weguffka right here. And again, there's Talladega Springs. This is technically to the south of Talladega Springs. Let's look at the velocity with this. Just see what Taylor was mentioning here. Yeah, there's still rotation there. That's very close to Lay Lake Dam. Yeah, real tight spot. There may be a tornado about to drop out of this, Taylor. You see that?
Yeah.
Very tight, concentrated area rotation there over Lay Lake Dam. This is in a populated area. There's a lot of folks that live out here, a lot of camp houses, a lot of lake houses there that will be impacted by this potential tornado. And a new tornado warning for Elmore County. That is outside of our TV market. That's in the Montgomery TV market, but Coosa is in ours. But again, County Road 199 right there. You see, that's what we're talking about. This is the Coosa River. This is Coosa County. And this is in a pretty sparsely populated part of the county here in Coosa. But again, we know there's still people that live out here. Your rotational signatures crossing the river as we speak. I want to look at the debris. Let's just see what this thing looks like. I don't see anything there, but we're going to watch very carefully for that debris dropout. That blue shade we'll see on a correlation coefficient. And if there's indeed a tornado here, we'll see that pop up very soon. In fact, the radar beam is not very high off the ground, maybe 1,000, 1,500 feet off the ground in this part of Alabama. So, it's not going to take a strong tornado to be able to actually see debris itself, but it's going to cross over the Coosa within a matter of just a couple of minutes. So, again, there's Hidden Valley Drive there. You're going to be in the path of that. Marble Valley Road right there in Coosa County. And, again, you see the outline of the river, the Coosa, where this thing is essentially crossing over Lay Lake right now. So, again, a dangerous storm that could produce a tornado. We haven't had any damage out of this storm in quite a while. In fact, Taylor, I don't know if this storm has this storm ever had a tornado down with this?
I think this is the one that had that TDS in Bibb County.
Okay.
I think that's the one.
That's right. It had that brief little TDS that popped up. Or no, this is the one to the south.
No, that's the one that was to the south of it. That's
right. The one to the north died out. The one to the south. This one hasn't dropped one yet, as we know of. But again, we're watching that little spot. You see right there some yellow coloration popping up on our debris tracker. It is possible that could be a tornado. Oh, yeah, look at that. All right, so I think we got a tornado down right now over Lay Lake. So this thing is most likely producing a tornado right now over Lake Lake, so we need you in shelter. See how fast it changed? You got to watch these storms carefully. So again, let's look at the velocity, couple it with this. Gate-to-gate shear of 75 miles an hour. What is that? Inbound winds at 82 miles per hour, the velocity. So again, we've got a strong couplet, most likely a tornado down, right now crossing over Lake Lake as we speak, not far from Lake Lake Dam. So again, this is a dangerous situation for a tornado that is most likely down now. Keep in mind we're sampling winds that are only maybe 1,000, 15 feet off the ground. So if you got a tight couplet that close to the ground, most likely that will make it down to the surface. So again, strong winds wrapping around a tornado right here over Lake Lake. It's about to cross Lake Lake. You know, something interesting, Taylor, for about the minute and a half it's going to take to cross over the lake, it's going to be a waterspout.
It's going to be a waterspout, exactly.
So, you know, once this tornado moves over the water, it's a waterspout. Moves over land, it's back to tornado. All that is technical definition. Means nothing. Means just by technical definition, a tornado over land is a tornado. When it hits water, it's a waterspout. Not the same setup as most waterspouts are on the coast, but again, that is what we're looking at. A lot of information just came out.
Just trimming back the tornado watch for now.
Hey, look at that. Much of West Alabama now removed from the tornado watch. John DeBlock at the Weather Service office of Birmingham watching for a potential CC, which is a correlation coefficient dropout. That's going to pop up right here. All right, so I think the tornado is occluding off, Taylor. I think the rotation's now cut itself off. There's probably still a tornado here, but we're going to see a correlation coefficient drop off briefly, and then it's going to fade away. But clearly the tornado has cut itself off from the warm, unstable air. Air has totally wrapped around this thing. So I would be willing to bet we had one touchdown briefly.
Now you want to know something interesting is if it touched down briefly just over the lake, you're not going to see a CC drop because that's water.
It's all water.
And so with the correlation...
It would look like rain.
It looks like rain. So for kind of a quick overview for the people out there that are looking at that, so there's your debris switch right there.
It hit land.
It hit land. But if it had just hit water, you would just see the purple out there because it's the same as everything else.
Yeah.
The only reason the radar is pointing at this is because it's saying, hey, there's something other than water out here. It's hitting trees, debris, and stuff like that.
Yeah, because all this is picking up on is raindrops. You know, all this out here is raindrops or maybe some hailstones, but most likely all raindrops. So you get this kind of smooth laminar color, and then you get this spot here, as Taylor mentioned, that there's different size objects in the air, so we get this kind of return on a radar like, hey, there's something different here. So the tornado has touched down clearly on the west bank of Lake Lake. It's crossing over the lake, briefly became a waterspout, and now it's back over land. So again, it only took about a minute and a half for it to cross the lake. It would be interesting to see if there's anybody out here that had video when this thing crossed over, again, Lake Lake. So again, this is your tornado here. This is Lake Lake. This is the center part of the lake. This is the county line, which is in the middle of the lake between Coosa and Chilton. So we have an official tornado touchdown. I don't think it's going to be down very long. But again, that's what we're looking at. So again, a potential, look at this, Taylor.
It's gone. Yep.
That's what's left of the debris. There's still debris falling out of the sky here. Hidden Valley Drive right there. That's where debris is still falling out. So if you live at Hidden Valley Drive, you probably have leaves, small tree branches, limbs, maybe some tin falling out of the sky. And, you know, I mentioned this before, Taylor, it's such an odd thing to see tornado debris fall out of the sky. I don't know if you've ever experienced this before, but years ago when I was younger, grew up in Marengo County, we had a tornado a few miles south of us, and I had no idea there was a tornado there. It was pouring rain, and I remember seeing leaves and little sticks falling out of the sky. I mean, millions and millions. It's such an odd thing. You look up in the clouds, all you see is the leaves, and there was a tornado touchdown. I think it ended up being an F2, but again, that was interesting to experience. So if you are right here, that's what's happening at your house. Leaves and sticks are falling out of the sky in this part of Coosa County. Now, the Weather Service did go ahead and confirm this with a TDS, but I mean, about the time they confirmed it is gone.
You know, you're talking about debris falling from the sky. When you have some of the very big tornado outbreaks, like you go back to 2011, and even we actually had the anniversary of this not that long ago up in Huntsville, the tornado of '89. There's actually a story that when it went through the southern part of Huntsville, it picked up all this debris and stuff. It was such a violent tornado that you had letters and photographs that fell into parts of Tennessee and Chattanooga. Matter of fact, one of them was, I think the story was, it was a photograph of their wedding day, and it had their name written on the back of it. And these people searched forever to try to find out who these people are, and they mailed them that wedding photo, and they got it like weeks later. So, I mean, these little tornadoes, they're not going to be tossing debris out hundreds of miles away. It's going to be a few miles away. But, yeah, some of these bigger tornadoes, they take that stuff and they go with it for hundreds of miles.
Oh, yeah, and it just keeps going. You think about a little piece of paper like a picture, how lightweight that is, and these big, strong tornadoes have these strong updrafts, and they can hold that up for a long time. Our tornado's dead here. It has lifted. We had a very brief tornado touchdown. Let's look at the couplet. And, again, you still see that little circulation, but it's totally cut itself off now, so I don't think there's going to be, if there's anything down, it's very weak and brief, but we still want you in shelter. If you're at Marble Valley, Strickland Crossroad right there, and there's Weguffka over there. So, again, we still have a tornado warning in effect there.
Big-time TDS to the south of this, near Datesville.
Oh, okay. Let's go down there and look at that. Now, this is over in Elmore, right?
Elmore. Sorry, Deatsville, not Datesville.
Let's go down just interested to see what this thing looks like. And, again, this is down to the south of our area. Oh, it's going to be this one
just
right here.
East of it.
Wow, look at that. Now, that's a tornado there. That's obviously the Coosa River. That's Highway 111 there. This is in, again, Elmore County. Is that right, Taylor?
Yes, that is Elmore County.
So, again, a very dangerous tornado situation there along Highway 111 there. This is over in Elmore County. Now, this is in the Montgomery TV market, but, man, that thing is nasty looking. Let's look at the debris signature.
It was
there
a little bit better earlier.
And mine may be behind. We may be playing catch-up on this, but, again, there's a tornado there crossing the Coosa River down here to the south. Weather Service cancels tornado warning for, okay, that's Autauga County. More reports coming in from trees down in Marengo County, Old Spring Hill Road area. We've seen some of the damage. We showed you some of the pictures just earlier of a tornado that touched down in Marengo County. We had a tornado touchdown on the Coosa River at Lay Lake, very close to Lay Lake Dam. That tornado, I think, has lifted. Let's get back up to it just to be sure. And you see the confirmed tornado down here, Taylor. This is the pink polygon. You're going to see another one from Coosa County. Technically, Coosa County is still a confirmed tornado. Let's just look at this thing carefully. And again, you hear the alerts in the background here. So
they are continuing it, so they're probably waiting to see if it's going to do its usual thing like it's done before. It produces a tornado and then just give it a little bit, and it weakens.
I think you can still see it. Is that little spot right there? Let's look at the correlation coefficient of the debris tracker. And that may be just rain. Yeah, that's just rain. Okay, so yeah, the debris dropout we just saw on our debris tracker, it's gone. But again, Marble Valley, Strickland Crossroads still need to be in shelter in Coosa County. Here is your tornado warning polygon. You see right there. This is just north of Gold Branch. Weguffka, you're not in this tornado warning polygon. This is for the far north and northwestern part of the county. Tornado warning, that continues until 2:30, so another 40 minutes for that tornado warning there in Coosa County. But again, no doubt we had a tornado touchdown, at least briefly.
Now, another area we'll have to watch if you just pan off just to the north in southern part of Talladega County, you're starting to get what more of a QLCS-like feature.
This thing's wrapping around.
Yeah, you get these lines with embedded supercells, and so now you're going to have to start to watch for some of these bookend vortexes.
Yeah. I think you're right, Taylor. This thing may wrap around and produce a tornado. This is Oak Grove in Talladega County, not in Jefferson County. Oak Grove in Talladega County, that's Sylacauga. And I tell you what, Taylor, I would say, I know there's not a warning here, but if you are in southern Talladega County, it may not hurt to go into shelter. That is a suspicious storm. This thing is clearly wrapping up on itself. Okay, that's Lowndes County, and I keep getting our alerts here on our computer with the chat room with the National Weather Service office in Birmingham. But let me look at the reflectivity. I just want to see the strength of the storm, and I'm just interested to see.
I'll say this also.
It's on the back end of this thing, but clearly it's rotating.
Yeah, it's on the back end of that, but on the other one, the one that we have the warning on, it's still pulsing, and it could be one of those things where the velocity couplet is there. It's not strong, but it's really tight, and sometimes, given the signature like that, you might have a very weak tornado that is still on the ground, but you're not really able to see much debris with it because it is just so weak. Right there at Marble Valley, that little spot right there. Whenever you get the greens and the red touching, that is of concern, even if it is on the weaker side.
Yeah, it's no doubt there's something still spinning there, and it may be one of those things where you see this kind of broadly rotating condensation funnel down at the ground, and it's like an EF0 at strongest. But again, still, those are dangerous. They can knock trees down. They can damage a mobile home. But again, that's the latest on that storm. This is over in Coosa County, and you see some stronger winds. It's trying to develop a new couplet here near Strickland Crossroads. So this is again in northern Coosa County. This Gold Branch, this Weguffka. So again, we're trying to get another couplet pinch off here. So if you are south of Talladega Springs, let's watch this other little area right here for a potential new tornado to develop there. But again, that's the latest on that. In terms of a classic tornado, it's not there. Again, it may be just kind of weak, disorganized tornado. But again, this to the north, it is trying its best to produce a tornado. Again, you call that bookend vortices, kind of on that linear feature. We get this comma head shape where the air is wrapping around this thing. And again, this may drop a tornado. It's a new scan. Very strong winds. Now, even if it doesn't drop a tornado, if you're down here in South Talladega County, again, you need to be in shelter expecting strong winds at least, maybe a tornado. That'll be over Oak Grove here in southern Talladega County in the next 10 minutes. So again, no tornado warning for Talladega County, but it is a storm that has that suspicious look to it right now. I do want to go back off to our Tuscaloosa camera. This is Brian Denny. Here in Tuscaloosa, we're looking off towards the west direction. And again, I got some sun trying to break out off to the west of us. Temperature still at 68 right now in Tuscaloosa. That is the latest here. Fayette, it's 66, so it's a bit cooler. I wonder if they got under that boundary, that rain-cool boundary to the north at Line Taylor. I haven't really been paying attention.
Fayette, you're just, I mean, if I think what that is, you're having this little boundary that is on the right there. Yeah, it's not quite to Fayette yet. It's just across Winfield down to Vernon.
Yeah, it looks like this boundary's coming back north too. See, past couple of images there, it looks like it's kind of backing north.
It's probably like a little mesocell kind of warm front.
Yeah, it may be, because it's a second surge coming in behind this. It's going to lift the unstable air back over us. And again, right now we've got rain and storms still happening down here in Marengo and Washington, Clark counties and southwest Alabama. But again, this whole thing is slowly moving off towards the east. So we're going to watch it. Next several hours, I think we're about to get into the lull period, Taylor. So I think we're going to get into a time where not much happens. So, we might get into our 5 o'clock news and everything's just fine. Mm-hmm. Maybe our 6 o'clock news. And then after that, another round of severe weather comes in. So we'll be watching that carefully.
One thing I am keeping an eye on, I've been going back and forth trying to make sure we're not missing anything on these back-end storms. But once again, it's not strong, but it is there. It's showing up. Got another rotation that is between Linden and Dayton right now in Marengo County. I'm trying to see what the best vantage point is on the radar data. If you look at both Columbus and Mobile, let me see if Birmingham has it. Yeah, Birmingham has it too. It's this just part of these storms that are there between Providence and Linden. You're starting to get a little bit more of a rotation right there. And these storms, for the past, I would say at least 30 minutes, if not more, they really haven't had...
Yeah, I see that right there.
Yeah, they really haven't had a rotation that you could see.
Yeah.
you knew that there were some rotations in there, but you couldn't really see them. And now it looks like they're starting to become a little more organized to where we'll have to start watching them carefully.
So again, we're kind of zoomed into Marengo County here, where Taylor was mentioning between Linden and Dayton there, we got a kind of broad area rotation, but it's not to the point where there will be a tornado warning issued at this time. Now, that may change, but again, that's the latest on that. So Marengo County watching some storms down there. Let's go to Birmingham radar. And no doubt there's intense thunderstorms down here stretching from Octagon up towards Hugo and Dayton, coming up on Dayton. And then that will approach Fonsdale right there. There's Uniontown. Again, not a tornado warning for Marengo County, but a storm that is intense. It's still an environment where it could produce a tornado. All right, let's go off towards the east and show you where we do have a tornado warning in our area. And I do want to mention, too, in West Alabama, there are no tornado warnings at all. This is all now to the east. In East Alabama, I've still got tornado warnings for Coosa County and Elmore. In our area, it's Coosa County. And I do see where they still have the tornado warning observed for this one right here.
They're still holding on to it.
And I believe they may issue this into Talladega County. John DeBlock mentioning at the Weather Service office, they may extend this over. Let's look at the velocity with that.
Yeah, they did say thinking they'll extend it. Yeah, that one's that's still wrapping up.
It hasn't produced a tornado yet, but it could in a heartbeat. So if you're in Sylacauga, I would take shelter with this thing. This is a tight, or I say tight, it's still broad generally, but it's very strong winds, outbound winds away from the radar site. This thing may wrap up and produce a tornado and cross 231, very close to Sylacauga. The one down to the south, I don't see much left of that. Strickland Crossroads, there's still some evidence of rotation. Taylor, you see that down there. But again, it's not to the point where I would say there's a tornado down with that.
I'll say this too, with that cell to the north, one of the things I'm noticing is in the velocity data, it was moving basically due northeast, and then all of a sudden it went due east. And whenever whenever that happens, you end up getting enhanced shear with it. So I'm not surprised at all that it's increasing its velocity signature.
Just look at the wind with that. I'm interested to see how strong the winds are, and I'll sample kind of the strongest little core there. And a 65-mile-an-hour velocity signature. Now, the gate-to-gate shear is going to be low because it's not a perfectly tight couplet yet. But that may change. Again, if you're at Oak Grove and not Jefferson County, Oak Grove and Talladega County, there is an Oak Grove and Jefferson. This isn't the one. We got Gants Junction there, that's Sylacauga, and there may be a tornado develop out of this and approach downtown Sylacauga. So, again, if you are in southern Talladega County, especially near the Sylacauga area, let's watch that for a potential tornado there.
I'm curious if the Weather Service is going to do the same thing they did for the Demopolis storm that we started with, if they do this polygon to include both of these circulations.
Yeah, they may do that. So again, no tornado warning yet for Talladega, but that may change. Is that it? Nope. No tornado warning yet. So again, just carefully monitoring things behind the scenes too on social media, and I appreciate all the comments and reports too for what all has been going on, which is awesome to have Facebook Live because we have the ability to talk with you real time. So if you are in southern Talladega County, I know there's not a tornado warning for you, but I tell you what, let's treat this thing like there could be one down at any time. Again, you're looking at Oak Grove there. That's Gants Junction. That's Sylacauga, Odina there. So this is going to be moving into a pretty populated area here within a matter of just a minute or two. Okay, just checking with the Weather Service. Let's see. Yeah, they're talking about the Sylacauga storm. They're going to hold off on issuing a tornado warning for the moment. They have not issued a tornado warning for Talladega County, but that may change at any time. So it's now 2 o'clock. If you're just now joining us, Chief Meteorologist Richard Scott here with meteorologist Taylor Plott. And just checking with reports, there's quite a bit of damage in Marengo County.
Yeah,
I'm going to try to get some video soon.
I'm starting to think that might have been a pretty substantial tornado.
Yeah, it looks like pretty good damage there. In fact, a friend of mine, Echo Willis, their farm was hit by the tornado in Marengo County. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to save these images and I'm going to put these up here in just a second and just show you what's happened down there. And I'll tell you what, Jen, here in just a minute, I'm going to call for this weather iPad.
I'll go ahead and say this while you're doing that, Richard, for our northern areas, especially Coleman County, Weather Service in Huntsville has canceled the tornado watch for all of their counties. So all of North Alabama right now is no longer under a tornado watch. But we are watching flooding issues up there. So if you are needing to travel up into, say, the Coleman area, Decatur, the Huntsville area, please be very careful. There is reports of some flooding going on up in that area. Matter of fact, we do have a flash flood warning for Lawrence, Limestone, and Morgan up there. So just a heads up if anybody's needing to head up there today. All
right. Hey, Taylor, I've got those pictures now. This is over in North Marengo County. You see some of the damage they have dealt with there. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to play this video if I can. You see, this is on a farm, and this is a personal friend of mine down there in North Marengo County, not far from Old Spring Hill Road, and you see some of the damage they have dealt with. And this is kind of cedar country, a lot of cedar trees in that part of Marengo County. And again, you just see all the trees down. It looks like their farm had some damage there as well, and a lot of tin wrapped in trees, and that's kind of what you get with these tornadoes, Taylor. And you know, that's just some of the damage we've gotten so far in Marengo County. Hopefully everybody's okay down there, but that's a classic. You know, what you see is tin wrapped into trees. This is a picture of that mobile home that was damaged there in Marengo County. So I know exactly where that across Highway 69 there where Old Spring Hill Road comes out. Let's go back over to radar, Jen, and the National Weather Service office, they decided to issue a severe thunderstorm warning for Talladega County. So Sylacauga, Weather Service office issuing a severe thunderstorm warning. You got this pocket of strong winds coming towards downtown Sylacauga. Again, it just does not look like it is producing a tornado, but again, it's a close call for Talladega County and Sylacauga. It does look like this thing, Taylor, has broadened out just a bit. So that is a good sign. And I believe we still have a tornado warning for Coosa County. I think that warning's expired yet, has it?
I think it's still showing up. So I think it went to 2:30.
Okay. It's going to be I believe it's going to be out of Coosa before 2:30. So again, we got storms down to the south in Marengo County, Dallas County, and portions of Perry and Chilton County. These are not severe storms. And what I've noticed here, Taylor, is the wind direction's kind of changed a little bit. Winds are now more southwest down here, so that may be why these storms are not actually producing tornadoes.
Yeah.
What you need for a tornado to form in at least our part of the world is a south or southeast component to the surface wind to help the rotation get down to the surface for tornado formation. And if winds have become more southwest, you decrease that wind shear, and you really just kind of kill the tornado potential with those storms.
Yeah, the other thing is, at this point, the part of the upper level system that we're tracking is starting to leave. I mean, it's only here for a short period of time, and then we get that second one come through.
So we're about to get into a lull period where we're not going to have much happen. 47 knot winds at Sylacauga. What is that, 55, 56 miles per hour
it's
roughly?
Right up close to severe limits.
Yeah, so again, there's severe thunderstorm damage winds coming into Sylacauga as we speak. But again, West Alabama, we are getting into that lull period where there's not going to be much happen for a while, for the next few hours. So let's go down here into Talladega and Coosa County. And again, we've got strong straight line winds coming into downtown Sylacauga right now, 50, 58 mile per hour winds, give or take, in downtown. And put on the velocity and look at this, make sure there's not any rotating winds. I think this is all straight line winds. Yeah, just strong straight line winds coming into Sylacauga. Oldfield right there, there's Sycamore, All right, up and down Highway 21. That's Highway 231, Highway 280. You got Childersburg up here. Coosa River at the top of your screen. So, again, we got a strong straight line winds coming into Sylacauga. And down to the south, I see no evidence of a tornado. Looks like the tornado there's no sign of a tornado in Coosa County. So there's still a tornado warning for Coosa County, but there is nothing there. So I can safely say if you are in Coosa County, the tornadic threat for that storm is gone for now. Again, Sylacauga area, we've got damaging straight line winds. That is a real problem there as we speak. Weather Service Office are going to continue a tornado warning down in Elmore County, the south of our coverage area. Coosa County is in our coverage area. This is a look at how things have evolved over the past several hours. And again, this first wave of rain and storms is moving on. We've got another round that will likely develop off to the west, and that comes in tonight. That'll come in after sunset. All right, tornado warning canceled for Coosa County. So I'll tell you what, we now no longer have any tornado warnings in our coverage area. Go back over to the watch warning map. And again, the Weather Service Office now allowing the tornado warning for North Coosa County to expire. So if you guys are ready, just let me know and we'll send it back over to program. Go ahead. What was that, Jen? I'm sorry. Okay. Briefly want to mention tornado watch being canceled for Tuscaloosa, Pickens, Walker, points north. May see another one added later this evening. Tonight as that second round comes in. But again, still got a tornado watch for areas south of Tuscaloosa. I think this first round is pretty much coming to an end. There may be an additional tornado in East Alabama the next hour or two, but it looks like this thing is wrapping up with the first round going on. So we will take a break. Taylor and I will be back here on TV and Facebook Live coming up at 2:30 for a quick severe weather update. If we do have a tornado warning, we will go on TV and on Facebook and give you that latest information. So see you here in about 22 minutes.
This has been your Track Severe Weather Update.
All right, it's now 2:40 on this Tuesday afternoon. Chief Meteorologist Richard Scott here with Meteorologist Taylor Plott. We have a tornado warning that has been posted now for Clay County and East Alabama. We talked about during the cut-in about 20 minutes ago. We're going to watch these storms carefully in East Alabama for anything crazy to develop, and it looks like a tornadic circulation has indeed developed there in Clay County. Tornado warning for much of the county now, and that's going to go in effect for the next 20 or 30 minutes. Or what time is that? Warning until 3:30 for Clay County in east central Alabama. So for another 45, 50 minutes there. So again, here's your tornadic thunderstorm that is in far western portions of Clay County. Has the potential to drop a tornado. So look at the velocity signature with this and see the rotation. And again, there it is, tight evidence of rotation near Highway 77. That's going to be coming up on Ashland and Lineville. That'll be within the next 20, 30 minutes or so. So the storm, again, moving off towards an east or northeast direction. Speed on that storm is at 30 miles per hour. So again, the potential tornado is located 9 miles to the south of Waldo, 10 miles to the west of Ashland, moving east or northeast at about 30 miles per hour. So for a potential tornado right on Highway 77, that is Chambers Springs there on the Talladega-Clay County line. Again, you got your potential tornado there tracking towards the Ashland area. And then Lineville, you're going to be in the path of this potential tornado right now. Again, we've got meteorologist Taylor Plott here with us too. And Taylor, do you see anything, reports coming out of this storm so far in Clay County?
Nothing coming out of the chat so far. Just kind of scrolling back up here. Yeah, nothing has been said, whether there's any damage or anything.
Yeah.
I was looking at the correlation coefficient just a little bit ago. Let me check it again. There might be something down. It's really hard to tell. It's not if you're gonna pop it up, it's not a completely defined.
Right there.
But it's something. So that could mean that there could be a few branches that are being picked up or whatnot.
And this is in a very sparsely populated part of Clay County. This has moved across Talladega County. This is the same storm we were watching as it moved through Sylacauga earlier, had some embedded rotation with that. The storm really wrapped up pretty quick, so crossed out of Talladega County into Clay County. But again, if you're in Ashland, Highland, over towards Lineville, we need you in shelter. So again, if you're in a mobile home, get out of that, find a site-built structure, something that could protect you from flying debris. Wear a bike helmet. We often tell people that during the tornado warnings. And let me put on the tornado warning polygon. You can see where that is, and that does include Ray's Crossroads, Ashland, Highland, and Lineville. That's the red polygon you see representing that tornado warning. And again, that stretches all the way into the far eastern part of the county. Got Watts Crossroads, Barfield there. That's Highway 9 that runs into 49 at Lineville. So your potential tornadoes could cross Clay County over the next 20 to 30 minutes. And this could be a problem for our friends over there. Also in Randolph County, we're going to see that also as well. And again, just checking the Weather Service. They're having some issues down around the Montgomery area as well with a possible tornado down there. So again, here's our storm of concern. Let's zoom this thing out, put on Birmingham reflectivity. And I'll tell you this storm is more of that comma head feature, Taylor. You know, this thing's more of that comma head feature. The storm's not a classic supercell type of storm. The rotation's kind of embedded in this massive rain. It's interesting to watch that. But it's had some decent rotation here recently.
Yeah, it's definitely looking more like one of those bookend vortexes, kind of like what we saw earlier with the one coming out of was it Chilton County? I think that's the one. Yeah. So I mean, it's not your classic supercell like you mentioned, but that doesn't mean it can't produce a tornado. It's just it's in a different spot.
It's getting moving off towards the northeast at about 30 miles per hour. Here's the times of arrival for this potential tornado. We got Ashland at 3 o'clock, so in about 15 minutes. Highland 3:07, Lineville at 3:12. That's what time the potential tornado could be there. Barfield at around 3:19, and you keep going down the list. And that's over, by the way, those communities are over in Randolph County, which is outside of our TV market. Tornado warning going to continue for Clay County until 3:30. So again, we've got about 45 minutes to go on this particular tornado warning. This is going to be another warning where I think it probably moves out of the county before the expiration date or expiration time. So that's what we're looking at there. I do want to mention too that we're also streaming on Facebook Live. So if you lose power today with any of these storms we're dealing with, you can always tune into the WVUA 23 Facebook page, and we are on there as well. So again, just a way you can get our live weather information. So tornado warning continues for Clay County and far east Alabama. Everybody else is now in the clear to the west of that. Let me take you back out to a wide view. I'm going to clear this off to show you everybody out there across central Alabama. And again, we've got showers in spots and some thunderstorms, but in terms of this initial severe weather round, this is it right here. And again, this is all shifting outside of our coverage area, outside of our TV market. So this should be it. Clay County should be our last tornado warning for a while for the next several hours. But again, we're going to be watching things off to the west to see what comes up after this. So currently it's 67 in Tuscaloosa. We've been a little bit rain-cooled, had quite a bit of rain pass through. We are, while we're not totally stable, we're not extremely unstable at the moment. But again, that's what we're looking at with the environmental conditions. Fayette 64. Taylor, we know the wind is out of the east-northeast at 5 miles per hour in Fayette. I think they may be north of that boundary.
Yeah, but I'd say that boundary's moved through there.
Yeah.
So, but that should move back to the north. So Fayette, you're at 64 right now with that east-northeast wind. You're probably going to be like Tuscaloosa here later on with the south wind and temperatures bumping back up.
So I want to show you the watch warning map because some of the counties have been dropped from the tornado watch. I know in West Alabama, a lot of counties have been allowed to expire from that watch. In fact, in our TV area, Marengo, Perry, Chilton, Coosa, Talladega, Clay, Calhoun, also Etowah County. We got St. Clair County, and also Cherokee County. Those are East Alabama counties underneath that tornado watch. Red polygon, that is that tornado warning that's in effect for Clay County No additional tornadic situation expected for the rest of our area for the next few hours. However, later tonight, conditions once again become favorable for more tornadoes. So let's get back over to radar, and again, you see what we're dealing with. Rain and thunderstorms continue to move off towards the east. This is a radar loop and just kind of take you back into this event, and you notice how things are beginning to clear up just a bit down to the south. We don't really have that impeding storms down along the Mississippi Gulf Coast, the South Alabama area. Yes, we still have storms ongoing, but this whole wave is moving on off towards the east. So I do think over the next few hours we'll begin to see things quieten down just a bit. Let's go back over to Birmingham radar and show you the storm of concern.
It's not looking that impressive anymore.
Oh, it's not? Okay, I do want to mention too, for West Alabama, for people watching through Facebook Live, we are in general lull period. We'll have more storms develop later this evening and tonight, primarily after sunset. So let's go back into Clay County, just kind of see what this thing looks like here. And this is a storm that has this concern for a possible tornado that may be there on Highway 77. This is going to be just to the west of Ashland. And again, you see that little notch back here in that back side of the storm where your potential tornado could be. Let's look at the debris tracker. And I don't see anything there at all. So there's no sign of debris. But understand the radar beam is several thousand feet off the ground. And yeah, you're right, Taylor, this thing has really kind of unraveled itself just a bit. It had an impressive couplet there for a little while. But it certainly looks like this thing has kind of unraveled just a bit across that part of Clay County. Yeah,
one thing maybe to watch is, so this part of the state is more hilly. You get more of the mountainous terrain going on. So sometimes you can get some terrain involvement that can throw you some curveballs, and you can get another quick spin up here. So the fact that it still has at least broad rotation on it, it definitely needs to be watched. But sometimes when you get into the higher terrain of the eastern part of the state, sometimes you can get some weird things that can happen. You can get a quick tornado just because the terrain and the way that the winds flow through it can just enhance things very quickly. And even with that scan, that looked just a little bit more impressive on that one. You get a little bit more definition in the velocity data right there.
So again, this is just west of Ashland. This could be coming up on Highland, and next up be Highway 49 that runs up and down the county that goes through the Lineville community. That's where we're watching. So our potential tornado is going to be there, moving east-northeast at about 30 miles per hour. Just for interest, I want to see the lightning display out of this. And quite frankly, there is no lightning, Taylor, being produced by this shower. That is interesting. Have one lightning strike right there, but again, I see no lightning with this, which is very interesting compared to the storms earlier back in Perry County and Marengo County, where we had quite a bit of damage from what was likely a tornado. In fact, we put on the reports and zoom out and show you what all we've had across the local area. And again, we've had tornado damage reports in Marengo County, some that were just to the west of Marion in Perry County. We've got several reports here with a couple of thunderstorms that had a tornado at one time. But again, those storms have moved on and significantly weakened. Additional storms developed out here, out ahead of this main cluster. And this is essentially it. I think after we deal with Clay County, that's going to be it for a while for the next round of severe storms. In fact, I'll tell you what, I'm going to pull on our Futurecast model over here in the Weather Center here in just a moment. And I just want to see how this thing looks for the rest of the day. And so just bear with me for a moment. I'm going to pull this up because I have not been able to look at the new model data. So this is essentially our computer model data, high resolution information. Now let's go through tonight. And there's your second round. And Taylor, this has got us in a lull period till probably 10 o'clock tonight before the next round gets organized. And this looks more like a linear feature. So I'm not sure if this would be more of a tornado setup or a damaging wind and flooding.
I was looking at some of that model data and looking at the soundings and the parameters. And for those that aren't really familiar with that type of the the stuff that we look at here in the weather field is when you have the weather balloons that go up, it tells you, which way the winds are going, what the temperature is, and that can give us the idea of what the atmosphere looks like. So these models, these high-resolution models, can extrapolate on that, and you can see kind of these point forecasts of what the model data says. All right, the atmosphere looks like this over here, looks like this over here. And some of the models are saying that our winds at the surface, they're coming out of the southwest more right now. So that's what we call veered. So that limits the tornado potential, like Richard mentioned earlier today. You want the winds out of the south or southeast. Well, when we get this next wave that comes through, they start to go back to the south. Not really southeast, but they do turn back to the south. So I would think that there would still be a tornado risk with this. But you're right, that some of the model data earlier had this more cellular than linear that you're seeing here. So if that happens, that would be a good thing. That would ultimately limit the tornado threat. The kind of what we're dealing with now, with you have more of these clusters of storms that have occasional circulations in it. You might get a tornado on the ground for a few minutes and it's gone. That type of setup. So we're still watching it. We will get unstable again. But the question is, what type of storms are going to be dealing with tonight? Are they going to be more on a line, or are they going to be more cellular? So that's just something we'll have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, the more cellular, Taylor, as we know, are the ones that typically produce more of a tornado threat. The linear storms are more of a straight line wind threat with embedded tornadoes. So again, just checking with the Weather Service, looks like they're issuing more tornado warnings down in Bullock and Macon counties. That's in the Montgomery TV market. But again, we continue a tornado warning for Clay County. That's a tornado warning in Montgomery market. That is Bullock and Macon counties and southeast portions of central Alabama. Let's see, it is now 2:55. Chief Meteorologist Richard Scott here. We're coming up on 3 o'clock. And Meteorologist Taylor Plott with us in the studio as well. And we have one tornado warning working here for Clay County in East Alabama. Notice the counties to the west have been allowed to be removed from the tornado watch. Now, we may see an additional watch issued later this evening and tonight, but it may be after 8, 9 o'clock before the second round gets flared up. So we've got a little while to go, this gap between these two waves of storms. Unfortunately, we will be likely catching a break here in just a moment. And again, you see a new update with the tornado watch. They are allowing Marengo County to go. And I do see there's a note from the Storm Prediction Center about a new tornado watch.
I did look at that. That's for extreme southeastern Alabama to the Florida Panhandle.
So that's ahead of this cluster of storms. This is not for a new watch being issued to the west. So, all right, so again, we got a tornado warning for Clay County. Let's go back into that and show you that on our Doppler radar. So zoom you into Clay County and show you where we're talking about. And this will be it in terms of the severe weather risk for the next few hours. Once the storm moves out of Clay County, I think we're done with for a little while. But again, still a storm that has the potential to produce a tornado. See the original bookend vortex, that little curl on the north side. See it right there. Taylor, it may be another one trying to form down here. You see that one in southern Clay. This is going to move into Randolph within the next 20 to 25 minutes. Randolph County, which is outside of our TV market. So let's go over to the velocity and look at the wind data with that. So far, that one has not veered around to where it would be a tornado hazard, but again, there could be some strong straight line winds. The one to the north, the possible tornado would be generally to the west of Lineville now. Again, a dangerous storm that could potentially produce a tornado. Certainly doesn't look as impressive as it once did. In fact, before they issued the tornado warning, the thing looked really impressive for a few scans there. But again, there's Highland. You got Watts Crossroads there. That is Highway 49 that runs down to Lineville. You got the split off of that Highway 48 and then Highway 49 there. Again, in downtown Lineville. You got Ashland right there. The tornadic circulation is just on the north side of town. Ashland, you're going to have some rough weather, heavy rain, intense winds, and may have some lightning with that as well. But again, the Weather Service office in Birmingham, they're going to continue the tornado warning. That goes until, let's see, what is that, 3:30 for this particular storm. So 3:30 expiration time on this storm. And we'll see if the National Weather Service office in Birmingham will continue this all the way through 3:30 or not. We've got about 30 minutes left to go on this particular warning. But again, there's your rotational signature, your possible tornado north of Ashland. we'll look at the debris signature and just kind of see how this thing looks. And Taylor, I see nothing at all. A lot of, you see the maroon color, there's no shades of like yellow and green and blue in a small circular area, which would represent what could be a tornado. So what we're looking at is all the same size objects, which is raindrops falling. All that is the same, essentially, until you see one of those little spots pop up. I'll go over to the reflectivity out of Birmingham. And it looks like the northern part of this thing's really fizzling out. I would be surprised if they continue this tornado warning for Clay.
I'm curious to see what the instability is over there. And there's still instability there, but the storm's going from a spot where you're seeing decent instability to lower instability. So it's probably starting to weaken because it's losing the fuel that it needs.
Yeah, an unstable air is like fuel to fire. Think about it, you have a fire, you pour gasoline on it, it ignites, explodes. You think about the more instability, the more fuel you have for these thunderstorms. This storm kind of runs out of that good fuel. The thing will most likely begin to weaken just a bit. So again, there's Lineville. You got Watts Crossroads, Barfield there. That's the Highway 9 that runs down to Lineville. Again, a possible tornado here, but again, just based off the velocity, it doesn't look as impressive. Still got some rotating. But again, it's a weaker storm. This thing is not as impressive. In fact, there may not even be any lightning with this. Put on the lightning display out of that.
They have just canceled it.
Okay, all right, so that makes sense. One little strike of lightning there. So again, Clay County has now been removed from the tornado warning. All right, so before we go off program, and hang on just a second, let's look down to the south, that storm that's in southern Clay County, just to make sure. And we're going to go to program just a second. Do you see anything, Taylor?
I'm checking on the storms that are southwest that would eventually get into parts of Chilton County, and I mean they're rough, but they're not. There was one area of circulation that was just to the east of Selma, and that is dissipated, but they're very clustered together, so I wouldn't expect much of anything to come out of those, at least for now.
Yeah, so I think we're okay for a little while. Yeah, I see the little pockets of rotation here and there. So again, we're okay for now. Looks like we can go back over to program. The tornado warning has been allowed to expire for Clay County. What we'll do is we'll take a break and reset things, and again, we're in a lull period. I don't expect much additional storms to happen in terms of tornado potential until later on tonight. It could be after 9 o'clock before the next round begins to move in. So we will go back to program. We'll be back here for the 5 o'clock news. If something happens, we get another tornado warning, we'll be back on TV. Otherwise, join us tonight on the news at 5.
This has